This is our final move. You are the Allies' last hope. The Nazis won't go down without a fight. You have one mission. Drink all of Hitler's blood. Give them hell.
And we are live. Hello and welcome to Blackwater D&D, where good friends tell better stories. We are absolutely thrilled tonight to be partnering with the folks over at Rowan, Rook and Decard in support of their incredible Kickstarter, Eat the Reich, and showcase this fantastic game in its first ever actual play online. If you are new with us tonight and you've joined because you saw this, that we were advertised on the Kickstarter, thank you so much for coming by. We are very, very excited to give you a taste of how we do things over here at Blackwater. And if you like what you see here, we're an actual play channel with our main campaign running on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we feature indie games and different systems on Wednesdays. This is the first of a 3-part series, and I cannot wait to drop into it. Tonight is the last night of the Kickstarter. So type !vamp, V-A-M-P in the chat, and you can head on over and pledge. It is like, it funded in like 24 minutes. So like, please go back this incredible Kickstarter. All of their stretch goals have been met. And it's just going to be like, just such a fun book. And we cannot wait to show you the system. So before we talk about the game, I would like to acknowledge tonight that we are streaming from the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Coast Salish, Stolo, Squamish, and Musqueam First Nations, as well as the Wajit Noongar people of Australia. And while this story takes place in Paris, France in 1943, we are honored to live, work, and play on these lands tonight. And secondly, I'm going to welcome our amazing guests in. Tell us who you are, your pronouns, and what you do, starting with June. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you. I'm June. My pronouns are they, them. I'm an actor and artist in Vancouver, Canada. And I'm so excited to be here with Blackwater. You can find me at June.Laporte on Instagram.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, June. And welcome to our dear friend who we have had on DM Roulette before, DeadAussieGamer. Thank you so much for being here.
G'day guys, thank you so much for having me. It's awesome to be back here. For those who don't know who I am, my name is Michael. I'm the DeadAussieGamer. I'm a content creator, TTRPG entertainer from Perth, Western Australia. And my pronouns are he, him. I love all things involving TTRPGs, and I'm a huge advocate for wellness through gaming, using a lot of what I do to support at-risk kids here in Australia and people all around the world who, because sometimes, hey, life is struggle and games are fun, and let's use one to help the other where we can. That's what I'm all about. So, yay.
Amazing. Well, we're so happy to have you both here tonight. And of course, our sweet Blackwater cast members of Adam and Cody and Sean and Yanis. Thank you so much for joining me on this romp through Paris this evening. And a huge thanks to our beloved Faye Mindari on tech this evening. Okay, so before we sink our teeth into the story, I'm going to do a little bit of an expanded content warning here and some tone acknowledgement right off the top of the show. This game was created by the incredibly talented team over at Rowan, Rook and Decard, namely Grant Howitt, who's created amazing games like Honey Heist, as well as The Witch is Dead, and a bunch of other fantastic one-pagers, as well as longer games as well, with art by Will Kirkby, production and proofing by Mass Hamilton, and sensitivity consultant by James Mendes Hodds and Rue Dickey. We also have hired Rue as our sensitivity consultant for this miniseries and are so gracious for their time and advice to ensure we showcase the fun of this game while giving the scenarios in it the respect it deserves. This game was created as an act of creativity to reflect the frustration with the real world's ongoing Nazi problem. This game is a heavily inaccurate fictionalization of the events that occurred in the late stages of World War II, And content warnings for this stream include death, violence, grievous injury to player characters and non-player characters, blood, vampirism, mental domination, guns, animated corpses, werewolves, occult magic, fascism, and Nazis, as well in our last episode, and references to Adolf Hitler. So this is not a horror game for the PCs because they're so ridiculously powerful, but it is a horror game from the perspective of anyone who opposes the vampires. We are actively deploying safety tools as a cast together and understand each other's lines and veils, as well as the lines and veils that are built inherently into the game, which is a hugely cool thing. That is its like own chapter in the book, and it gives you tips and tools about how to play this at your table. And the tone of this game is ultra-violent, imprecise, and over the top, and basically encourages players to rip apart Nazis in an almost cartoonish fashion, which is super amazing and fun. And we also want to acknowledge the actual atrocities that were committed during World War II by the Nazi regime and all of the extensions of fascism. We want to honor the hundreds of thousands of lives that were lost through the Holocaust and the persecution of Jewish, Romani, disabled, queer, and many other minority groups at the hands of the Nazis through terror and genocide. And while our story centers around these incredibly powerful vampires who are here to save the day, I also want to take a second and acknowledge how real-life humans kicked Nazi ass and would have continued to kick Nazi ass even if Hitler did employ witches and werewolves. Many war narratives tend to generate pathos by focusing on the helplessness and passivity and victimhood of the groups that the Nazis targeted. And it's really important to highlight that the fact that every single one of these groups mounted determined resistance against the Nazi war machine, sometimes at impossible odds, sometimes in full knowledge that they wouldn't survive, and sometimes knowing that they would go home to the countries that defeated Nazis and still face hatred and persecution there as well. So some important notes on tone that we are taking into consideration for this game. But other than that, we're here to have some fun and play a little game of ultraviolence. So, let's get to it. With that being said, sit back, get ready for a bloodthirsty good time. Faye, roll that clip. Roll that clip. Roll the clip. All right, let's go, voracious vampires. Paris, early 1943. A new stronghold of Nazi terror as Hitler and the Axis prepare for a forceful push throughout the rest of Europe, with his airship tethered at the top of the Eiffel Tower as an outward show of audacity of the Nazi war machine. Areas of Paris lie in ruin, and murmurs of treachery flit through the airwaves in secret messages in both Allied and Axis forces. Our view narrows into an underground interrogation room, where a young man sits at the table, adjusting his spectacles, smoothing down his hair as he nervously waits. A couple minutes go by as we see him here, holding a briefcase between his hands at a table as a bright bulb of light hangs above, the only source of illumination in the room. After what feels like an age of waiting, the metal door opens and 2 high-ranking SS operatives walk into the room, while a sharply dressed man walks in behind them. We don't see who they are specifically, as our eyes are still trained on this young man at the table. And to our surprise, he speaks first, and not in an accent we'd initially expect. I got the documents you wanted, Herr Weber. I hope the Führer will be pleased with this and that my efforts to prove my trustworthiness will be seen as genuine. My place belongs here with the Reich. I am tired of living in the shadows of my superiors and having to put in all of this legwork in espionage where my talents are utterly wasted. Let me show you what I can do. The man he's speaking to, who we assume is Herr Weber, considers this for a moment, his gaze shifting between the 2 SS officers and back to the young man. He picks up the briefcase, opens it, and looks through the documents inside, his face not giving away any of the thoughts of what lie beneath. We see the young man holding his breath, knowing full well what he's doing, knowing full well the level of betrayal against his countrymen and the entire Allied force. Herr Weber gives one quick nod. Come, Mr. Oswald. Your work begins now. A huge smile rips across the young man's face, and we watch the moment as Mr. Henry Oswald, now former British intelligence, defects to the Reich. Now, we are going to fast forward 6 months, and we find ourselves just after sundown at a large estate in Eastern Europe. We are very far away from Paris. One could say a castle, considering the architecture and size. Gothic in its nature and aesthetic, we zoom in on a bedroom suite on the top floor. Adam, can you tell us who we see here and what they are doing?
You see in front of a massive, ornate mirror, Iryna, a tall, athletic, swimmer body male whose height is accentuated by their heels that they have on their knee-high boots as they put on their last bit of clothing, a long, very opulent coat, and they kind of look at themselves very admiringly. He's just checking himself out. He's just enjoying looking at his own beauty, which is present in spades. Chiseled jawline and cheekbones, and just very, very attractive. And that's his whole vibe, is just exuding sexy.
Incredible.
He's here to do one thing, and that's be sexy.
We love this. And as you have just really woken up and are getting ready to go about your evening, you hear a small knock at the door.
Enter.
The door opens softly, and without hearing footsteps, your night butler, Octavo, comes to the door. Sir, we have an unexpected guest in the grotto that might require your attention.
Unexpected guests are my favorite type of guest.
This is, while they might be your favorite type of guest, this is odd to you. Your entire family has left you to your own devices here within the family home in favor of a more suitable climate, not 2 years before. You are not expecting any visitors or missives. What would you like to do?
Well, of course, I am an excellent host. I will go greet my guests and make sure that they are attended to properly.
Okay. So you follow Octavo down through the basement of your house into the grotto.
As
a true grotto.
As Iryna walks through the house, Iryna is very capable of walking without making sound. They're a vampire. but they intentionally click their heels to make that like resonant echoing, like heel on hardwood sound to just create that ambiance of their entrance.
I love this. As you enter the grotto, we hear it first. Thousands of bats, actual bats, nesting here before they take off for their evening hunt. You've welcomed this colony to roost within your house for, give or take, a couple hundred years now, but it's rare that one comes in just before the rest go out. You see a strong black bat perched with a small scroll affixed to its leg. As you approach, it extends its leg out towards you.
Thank you, my darling. I'm going to take it.
Okay. It's a small scroll of weathered parchment, and it is blank.
Interesting. Octavo,
Sir?
bring me a lamp. Or a
Right away,
candle.
sir. He leaves outside the room for a moment and produces back with a candle.
I will hold it over the heat of the candle.
Nothing happens.
Octavo, they've given me a puzzle. Bring me some lemon.
Octavo goes upstairs, takes a couple minutes because you don't eat lemons, but does find them. And
Has to go to town.
lemons are hard to get in this region at this time of year, but does probably about 15 minutes later come back with a lemon.
With a long talon-like nail, I slice the lemon, I squeeze it on the paper and hold it on the heat again.
Nothing happens.
Octavo,
Sir,
why do they vex me so?
it has been some time since they've called.
Well, yes. I was having such fun up here. My company is so enjoyable.
If I might, sir, perhaps it's this. And Octavo takes a small lapel pin out of his pocket, pricks his finger, and touches it to the page. Just a drop. As the drop hits the paper, you see that it seems to be
I'm a
sucked
vampire.
through.
That makes sense. Yeah. Yes.
I didn't want to say it, sir.
Well,
but
listen, I was thinking like spy stuff. I was just reading a most excellent novel. But yes. Bloods.
the blood begins to arrange itself in letters, stringing together to form a simple message. Your presence is requested at Fang Command in London at once. Full stop. One last drop. Full stop.
Octavo,
Sir,
they need me.
unsurprising. Shall I ready the car?
Please.
Right away.
And then
So-
to the bats, I go, fly!
And as if on your command, a screech echoes through the grotto, bouncing off the walls in this beautiful cacophony of sound. And you see probably 3,000 bats begin to take up, off, and out of the cave as they go for their nightly feast.
I stroll through the cloud of bats towards the car.
Incredible. And Octava there waits in the car, and you take off on the road.
Fantastic.
Our view then shifts, seeing Iryna go towards Scandinavia, where a small camp has been set up on the far outskirts of a small town near the Trollheimen Mountains. We see a grouping of a few tents. As the sun sets, we see a glint off the wreckage and remnants of a plane that sits about 500 feet away from this campsite. Someone then emerges, surveying the beautiful, placid landscape around them and the peace of the range. Cody, can you tell us who we see and what they're doing here?
Stepping out of the wreckage, you would see a very strong woman in a sleeveless sort of vest, showing off the absolutely rippling muscles of her arms and back. Just absolutely fucking furious. This is the last time I let someone else check my fucking plane.
As you speak, despite the fact that you are mostly cold, the heat of the breath coming out of your mouth is still warmer than the air around you. Despite your rage, that deep-seated rage that sits in your chest, you take in the beauty of your surroundings. And it's then you see a group of about 15 large, hairy muskox move in your direction. And one of them breaks out from the herd and begins to approach your campsite. While you've absolutely had interactions with these creatures in the past, and most of which have been decently positive once you realize that they weren't great for eating, this is the most bold that they've ever been. This large creature lumbers its way towards you, its nose sniffing, and you see as well that hot breath on the cold air. As it gets closer, you see it has a small pack that seems to be affixed to it for carry, and it stops about 20 feet away from you.
Astrid would make her way over to the ox, putting her hand out, not to necessarily. You said it's holding a package.
It's got like a little carry case that seems to be affixed around it on its back.
So it would make sure to hold her hand out, so the ox could sniff and try to gain its trust. I'm not angry at you, darling.
It seems to take what you say to heart and takes a hesitant step towards you. This creature, if you were anyone else, would crush you easily with a trample, but it seems to recognize strength, and that seems to be important. So it nuzzles your hand and seems to walk past you, guiding your hand to this pack. Your hand reaches inside, and you pull out a small envelope.
Okay, I would open it and read it.
As the sun begins to dip below the horizon, you're able to catch the words in the last light of the day. Not that you'd need it, because you can't see in the dark anyway. It says, "Your presence is requested at Fang Command in London, post-haste. Full stop. Air transport provided over the next ridge. Full stop."
Always somewhere to be.
As you seem to finish reading it, the muskox lunges towards you and grabs the piece of paper and chews it and devours it entirely.
Good boy. And I'm gonna ruffle his head fur right behind the ears.
And you get a as it begins to walk off back towards its herd.
I'm gonna miss those things. And then is going to go towards the ridge, I guess?
Okay. You grab a couple things and you begin to scale down the ridge from your makeshift campsite. And parked on a small, seemingly recently created runway that was absolutely not there last night is a brand new Bristol Type 156 bow fighter, not dissimilar to the previous plane that now lies in wreckage near your camp. And you see emblazoned on the side, the Duchess 2. As you approach the plane, it is empty with a full gas tank, and there is a blood bag on the seat, albeit slightly frosty from the cold.
Fucking perfect. And is going to hop into the plane and get it started.
It purrs to life as the twin engines begin to rotate just as you remember them from your previous plane. You begin to orient the plane, and you take off down this small runway, headed for London. As we watch Astrid take off, we shift over to the Aran Islands, nestled in Galway Bay off the coast of Ireland. We see rolling countryside of green, mostly untouched by the atrocities of war at this point, with rows and rows of stone-lined pathways and roadways. We focus in on a small seaside house. where we smell cigarette smoke wafting out an open window. An open bottle of wine sits on the table, half drank. And June, who do we see?
We see a small figure sat in the chair. They have sharp, kind of angular haircut, and they are wearing men's clothes, but it's all kind of askew, suspenders down. It's clear that they've been drinking many, many glasses of wine, and they have a cigarette in one hand, and in the other, they're kind of caressing this cut-off rifle, this half-sawed-off rifle. And they're humming the Irish song On Raglan Road, which is a song about longing for a dark-haired woman.
Incredible. And you've been here in this house for a while. Ever since your ex-girlfriend Siobhan left you with more than just a few of her things after a particularly bad breakup. Technically, this is her house. And despite the fact that she up and disappeared in the middle of the night about 4 months ago, you are still here. What have you been doing on the Aran Islands to fill your time?
Nicole has been staring out longingly at the sea, mostly talking to her array of guns and grenades and smoke bombs, as if they were talking to their ex, Siobhan.
Incredible. As we watch you move around this small dwelling, we see this impressive arsenal of firearms and artillery, as well as those explosives behind you, intermixed with a huge library of books. Plays, fiction, non-fiction, it's all there. And as you sit in the quiet, caressing your rifle, you hear a street musician playing a doleful violin outside, mixed with the sounds of what seems to be a great night at the pub down the street. And you hear the crack of a gunshot come from outside. What would you like to do?
As they're stroking their rifle, they say, Siobhan, do you hear that? Sounds like a good night. And they sort of drunkenly kind of sit up from the chair and stumble towards the door to go see what the ruckus is all about.
Incredible. So as you walk out of your front door, you look vaguely and you do not see the source, but you do see a large bullet wedged into the wall next to your door. As you remove it, you see that it can be opened.
Fucking hell. My eyes are not as focused as this, but they kind of stumble and they're not very dexterous in their drunkenness, but they try to sort of open up the bullet.
Yeah. So you can smell the gunpowder and feel the warmth of the bullet, which is a stark contrast to the coldness of your hands. This was fired from a very, very powerful rifle. Inside the bullet itself lies a message on a small piece of parchment. It says, "Your presence is requested at Fang Command. New toys, we promise. Transport awaits outside."
Looks like it's time to kill some fascists. And then Nicole goes in to grab their many myriad of toys to sort of suit up and get ready to go.
Amazing. You get back outside and you look down the street and you see that there is a black town car. Too nice for the middle of the war and way too nice for the socioeconomic level of where you are in the country. And as you look at it, it roars to life. You do not see a driver in the front seat.
They take a long drag of a cigarette and sort of sigh, like they don't really like the showmanship of all of it, but they begrudgingly get in the car.
Amazing. You climb in and there is nobody in the front seat, but the car begins to reverse and drive on its own, steering and navigating the streets as you begin your journey towards the ferry and then south towards Fang Command. You see black shades pull down, and on a large ray of buttons on the front of the car that seems to signify artillery of some kind has been embedded in the car just in case. Seems like they're rolling out all the stops to get you to come do one last job.
Nicole likes this and is sort of like toying with the buttons, like careful not to press any, but just sort of caressing the buttons.
You see there is one that is a switch that just has a smiley face on the top of it.
Well, what's this going to do? And they press it.
A small compartment reveals itself, and you see some very nice Bordeaux in there.
Oh, excellent. I need another glass of wine. I drank all of mine. And they take it and they just and start downing more.
Amazing. So we leave Nicole there driving off towards Fang Command in a car that they are not driving. And we zoom out and begin to take a quick jump over the Atlantic. Pardon the sirens that are seen to be driving near my actual house. We land. I'm going to wait for these to pass. My sincerest apologies. There we go. We land in the dusty state of Texas on a large cattle ranch, the Flying W. It is nighttime, and while most of the animals are asleep, there is always work to be done. We settle in on a barn far away from the main farmhouse and peer into the upper floor just below the rafters. We hear the groan of wood as a large piece of it clatters and falls to the floor, and climbing out to begin a good night's work. Yanis, who do we see?
You would see Chuck. Big cowboy hat. He's got a denim work shirt on, rolled sleeves, Wranglers, cowboy boots. But where his skin pokes out, he doesn't look quite right. Skin's sort of starting to shrivel, go a little bit green. He looks like a man who's seen better days.
You begin the slow descent and start your nightly chores. You are here to guard and protect a specific group of cattle who tend to like to feed at night in the fields farthest from the farmhouse. And they have been the target of some very, very pesky cattle rustlers. After multiple thefts have cost the Flying W a very hefty portion of their profits, your numerous skills were found to be quite useful here. And the cattle don't seem to notice the difference between you and any of the other farmhands. As you let the cattle out of the barn, you go towards the main door, and you see a small bottle perched on the fence outside. It contains a liquid, which looks to be quite a nice whiskey, judging by the color, and a small envelope is attached to it.
Seems you can't truly run away from your problems. Uncork the whiskey, take a swig, sigh, and open the envelope.
Inside, in hastily scrawled writing, you see the words, "Sorry, buddy. The Tommies need you again at Fang Command ASAP. Good luck and God bless. Transport is waiting at the base. Lieutenant Broadman."
He would just down the rest of the bottle of whiskey.
It's so good. It's the best whiskey you've ever tasted.
Place the bottle back down. You'd see him walk back into the barn. And as he walks back out, you'd see he'd have put on a belt, and he'd be busy spinning 2 guns in each holster. And then he would just, guess it's time to dine out. And he would make his way to find the car.
Incredible. There is an old farm truck that sits unoccupied on the property, and you have been given license to use it. You know the base isn't far where you used to work out of, and you're pretty sure you could make it by sunrise if the gas holds out. However, in the barn, there is also a horse, Penelope, who doesn't seem too scared of you if you want it.
I think he'd know that he could make it in the car, potentially. But if he didn't stick to the roads, he could make it on Penelope for sure. And so he would take one last ride through the fields for hopping on a plane.
Incredible. You take off as the last bit of sun dips below the horizon. And we leave Chuck there, a cowboy on his steed. And we skip back over the pond, closer towards British Command in London in the borough of Hackney. Despite the massive bombings in London, we see that small parts of this borough maintain the livelihood and vibrance as one of the major cultural centers in London, housing musicians, artists, and is, to the knowing few, the home of occultism in East London. We zoom in on a shop front opening for the evening, and it seems to welcome in those who wish to get in touch with the great beyond. Sean, inside the shop, who do we see?
Yes. Inside the shop is a thin, tall man, lovely dark hair, tattoos of various occult symbols on his collarbone. He's wearing a silk gown, a silk shirt, and a silk jacket. All of them open. They all have buttons. None of them are done up.
Yes.
And he's just this. He looks not dissimilar to someone who has figured out stick and pokes and has just like let their friends go to town.
Yes.
And he is fucking around with like a puzzle box, and he's having a real hard time of it. He recently had a shipment of German marching powder come in, so he's been trying to crack open this puzzle box for 3 days without sleep, to no avail. And he along his person, there's just trinkets hanging off. There's various bottles and sacks and bags. So like, his outfit is made to billow, but it's completely weighed down by knickknacks. So it's almost like he's going for slick and just not nailing it.
Incredible. As we see you poring over this puzzle box on the counter, you realize you might have something in the back that could help with this. And you dip into the back part of the shop, hoping to have, maybe after you figure out this box, a steady stream of clientele come into the shop for various occult needs, which is not hard, considering you're London's third best necromancer. And you hear the bell ring on the shop door.
I know I can't be number one, but who's number two?
We will find out. We will find out. You hear a bell ring while you're in the back half of the shop.
Yes. Shit. Yeah. And he hustles out to the front. Yes.
As you
don't
head
touch
back
anything.
As you head back out in the main shop front, you see a crystal ball on the main counter that was not there before. It is quite rudimentary in its design, and it's perched on a small metal stand. What would you like to do?
I immediately check the room for traps.
Okay, this is your shop, so you know it quite well. You look through the room, and nothing else seems to be out of place. Nothing has been moved other than the bell and this glass crystal ball on the counter. That's it. That's the only thing that's different.
Cosgrave pulls out a broom, hooks it around the other side of the glass ball, pulls it towards him, and catches it with his foot just in case there was anything under the ball.
Nothing.
That's fine.
You do catch it just fine. You have enough dexterity to do so. The stand sits completely isolated. It wobbles a little bit. Nothing trips. Nothing happens to it.
He kicks it up, catches it, and inspects it for its workmanship.
It's a high quality crystal ball. This would be even beyond your pay grade of how good this is.
Seems much too good to be true. I shake it.
Okay.
Trying to make it work.
As you shake it, you see a small plume of smoke seem to swirl inside the ball. And all of a sudden, you hear, just the most grating voice inside your head saying, "Oi, bruv, Supposed to tell you you're needed at Fang Command. Too bad you'll have to close the shop, though. Shall I pick up the slack for you? And you know this to be the voice of Bishop, London's second best necromancer.
Bishop, if you touch anything in my shop, I'll collect your fingers and I'll put them inside of places that you're not imaginative enough to think of.
Bruv, I wouldn't do that to you. There's the code and all. I wouldn't do that.
I fucking hate you, Bishop. I fucking hate you, and one of these days I'm gonna dance on your fucking grave.
The smoke plumes down as you just hear him laughing as the call goes.
Fuck,
Dead.
is he good? He's not the best, but he's close. Shit! God damn it. All right. And he fucking goes to the back, and he moves 3 different false shelves, revealing varying degrees of like trick knickknacks, all the fakes, and he finds this a big old beautiful sawed-off shotgun inscribed with runes, a like arm-length knife with one of them like fucking I forget what they're like, a trench knife where it's brass knuckles and a knife, a bottle just filled with ghosts, and he says, sorry gents. And then there's just a simple mason jar with one of those like red and white like fabric things,
like gingham fabric.
Yeah, just like a real old school grandma's fucking jam jar.
Incredible.
And he takes that and he puts that in a very special pocket in his deepest, most billowy layer, and he strides out of the door.
You close up shop
multiple ways and putting a curse on the door that if anyone looks at it too long, they'll go blind.
Wonderful. As you feel your curse land and realize that this will absolutely hit a civilian likely because your shop is very interesting to look at, you begin to saunter down the streets towards headquarters. And as we anticipate the rest of you arriving at Fang, we see the building itself, a repurposed church built again after the bombing that houses the Sisters of Our Lady of Perpetual Ruin, a small sect of nuns who support the Fang cause with their literal blood, sweat, and tears. We move inside the belfry and we see a few of the nuns finishing up their weekly blood donation with approximately 60 women in habits, rosaries around their neck, going about their jobs as an integral part of the work that our vampires have yet to come. Through the vast network of tunnels underground the church are where our commandos are headed, but our view moves up towards a hole in the rafters, where we find ourselves in the attic of the church. As the last light of day dips below the horizon, our sight falls on something, or rather someone, hanging upside down. Dad, can you tell us who we see here?
So, hanging from the rafters is, well, it's hard to describe. A bat-like human, a human-like bat, maybe a little bit of hyena or chupacabra, maybe mixed in for good measure. Whatever it is, this monstrous creature using talons the size of gardening implements is clinging to the old and worn rafters with enough strength to hold up a rather muscly and furry body that is wreathed in these massive leathery wings. Now, in addition to this, tied around his neck is a chain with what looks to have once upon a time maybe been part of a claymore that had exploded offward, and it simply has several letters burnt in. Misspelled and partially mismatched, it reads Flint. With a glassy white eye from a scar that runs down one side of his face, his eyes awaken as the lights of day slowly dip. And with his kind of turned up nose, he starts to sniff the air.
And as you sniff around, you hear the door opening, and you see someone you recognize at the door, hearing her call out, "Flint, may I come in?"
Realizing who it is, Flint very quickly opens up his leathery wings, checks underneath sort of where his armpits would be, and just sort of as he then flips his body downward and gets what looks to be a dead kind of rat that he's preserved kind of on the hilt of his belt, and he then immediately starts to
the goodest boy
as he rubs this dead rat on himself and drops from the rafters. Despite his rather big and bulky form, the visage of Flint as he falls is quite graceful. At first, like a bullet, before twisting and unfurling the wings outwards and back as he lands with claws on all four legs, punched down, his head sort of arcing in a very submissive pose to the woman that has just entered the room.
So you would know this to be Sister Marie-José, one of your favorite nuns here at the convent. She is rolling down her sleeve, having come upstairs after a fresh blood donation, and she seems to have a small bag in hand filled with a viscous, familiar red liquid. Are you hungry? I also have something to ask you, so it felt important to bring something.
Flint is trying very hard not to be too eager. He knows the smell of blood. He's still even through the fresh wound that is now sealed up after the blood's been drawn. There's still this kind of wafting red aura that tickles past his nose and triggers that back of his brain hunger. But instead, he sits patiently. He raises and puffs out his chest. He twitches his ear. His back foot comes back behind his large bat ear and gives it a few big scratches as he just tilts his head, waiting for the news and waiting for the bag to be presented to him.
She holds the bag while she asks her question, knowing that she will completely lose you once the bag is handed over. She goes, well, I've been sent up here to ask if you wanted to go do a job in Paris. It's a pretty big one, and the rest of them are on their way here. Even Iryna. I heard Iryna's coming. I know, you don't, also, I want to say you don't have to go if you don't want to. You know you're welcome to stay here for as long as you like. This is your home now if you want it to be.
You see his ears turned downwards. He loves living here. He loves the nuns. He loves, being able to, be left to his own devices. He doesn't really like going out in public. People tend to scream a lot. So you can see he's kind of just sort of his head goes down. He gives it a few thoughts, but then he looks up and there's a moment flashing in the mind of Flint of the sounds of the gunfire, the bright noises, his memories of the cave and the Third Reich that awoke him from his slumber that one fateful day that drove him from his original home. He imagines the same happening here at the nunnery. He imagines Sister Marie-José. He nods, and then you see that his body posture takes on a more happy tone as he barks approval.
She smiles and laughs a little bit. Okay, well, they should be coming through at any minute. Commander Slate is downstairs in the briefing room, so you can head down there whether you're ready. I know you know the way. And she looks over, and there's a hole in the wall that seems to lead to a series of passages that you have carved for yourself here in the walls of the church, and one of those leading down to the briefing room. She leans over and gives you a little kiss on your cheek, and she puts the blood bag in your hand. She steps back. She says, okay, well, give him hell for me, okay? And it means more because a nun asked you to.
He takes the bag and he holds it in his clawed hands. Despite it being made of like plastic, he hasn't penetrated any of it with his like really long razor sharp claws. He kind of sits and he does what he usually does. He kind of waits for Sister Mary Jose to kind of excuse herself, just taking the moment to just soak in everything, just enjoy being with her for the little periods of time that he can.
So he goes, okay, well, I'll leave you to it, and you come back, okay? We really like having you here. And she gently makes her exit, giving you a little wave before she closes the door.
And you watch as literally this fountain of blood just sprays over his face before he licks like whatever he can with his huge tongue off his face, and then crawls into the walls. As he's like sort of making his way down to the briefing room, every now and then passing by like a small vestibule where there's like, an altar where some, people, do prayers and stuff. And there's just this flash of this like red eye that just sort of looks at them from a crack and then keeps moving.
I would die for Flint. I personally would die for Flint. And I think half of chat would as well.
Good.
So as we watch Flint climb through the walls, we converge downstairs towards the aforementioned briefing room, getting a true look at one of the Allied Central Command Centers. Technology abounds, from incoming telegrams and radio signals with interladen messages. We see people from all walks of life and background moving quickly in many different uniforms. We see British, American, Canadian, French. We see Indigenous code talkers debriefing and translating, preparing messages to be traveled behind enemy lines. We see German lessons going on in a separate room for spies and soldiers alike. Formed in secret about 6 months ago, Fang sits amongst this plethora of military activity as also a loose-knit organization of vampires, walking corpses, morally gray wizards, and one hell of an administration staff. They know that if the commandos are being summoned, then things have well and truly reached a critical mass. And for lack of better words, a Hail Mary is needed. You also see a group of occultists, and we can be brought back up to full screen if we can. We see a group of occultists reading cards in one corner, a group of astral projectors lying stock still as they attempt to reach planes beyond existence. And we also see a group of individuals in one corner with dark green skin that seem to be sloughing off, kind of just staring at the wall. Most people seem to be giving those folks a wide berth. Ghouls, you think they're called? Not your division, though, so not your problem. At the center of it all, we see Commander Slate, a human woman in a standard issue uniform with many, many accolades on her lapels and epaulets. What she lacks for in show, she makes up for in directness and loyalty. She reports to the head of Allied Command and is essentially your liaison. Despite the fact that she knows that at the end of the day, she does not outrank you, and she could not best you in combat. Her leadership has seen Fang succeed against the odds in a number of tense engagements behind enemy lines. So as you make your way inside the Fang door, you realize that you have absolutely no idea what Fang stands for. Is there anything you folks would like to do individually as you come into Fang headquarters before heading downstairs to the briefing room?
Arrive disrespectfully late.
Amazing. Do you head straight downstairs, or do you spend your time talking to people?
Everyone gets a hello, darling.
Amazing.
I go talk to every group, even the ghouls. I like go talk at them for a bit and then just wander off.
There's like a small like eye twitch and as you kind of walk by, and you see one of the astral projectionists lying on the floor, and you see their sitter, someone who oversees them to make sure that they are safe on their journey. And you know this as Lucien Falstaff. And you've met Lucien many, many times. A human, but one of the good ones.
Yes.
And he absolutely gives you a wink as you roll through.
Darling, you're looking so fantastic.
Talk about yourself. Is that new? This whole thing here?
I'm always looking fantastic, and to say otherwise would be insulting to me.
He laughs and he says, well, you're needed downstairs. Don't keep them waiting.
Of course. The saunter.
Incredible.
Again, making zero effort to pick up pace.
Amazing. Anyone else? Is there anything else you would like to do here as you enter Fang Command?
Sorry, yeah. Am I
June,
muted?
no, June's muted.
Oh, June is.
June
Oh,
started
I was
talking, but
muted. Nicole wants to go visit one of the blood nuns.
Amazing. Who do you go see?
Go see Sister Lucy. They sort of, Nicole is kind of like sauntering in there trying to put themselves together, and they sort of like see each other and kind of like entangle immediately. Like it's clear there's a history here.
Yes.
And it's very sloppy.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
Sister Mary Lucretia, as she is known here, but Lucy as you call her, you stumble through the door and she locks eyes with you and her eyes go wide and she grabs your arm and she yanks you around a corner. And there's a lot happening in that moment. And that goes on for exactly as long as you want it to.
You know, a little bit of time. It's sort of, it's clear this person is kind of a rebound. And it's sort of like Nicole rounds the corner, like wiping some blood off. It's clear like Lucy has sort of offered up some of her blood as well.
Yes.
So Nicole has gotten that and sort of like wipes that away and kind of saunters, to headquarters.
Sister Mary Lucretia absolutely slaps your ass as you walk around the corner and lets you walk downstairs. Anybody else?
Chuck would come in and he would make his way to see if like what new technology there is, sort of like whatever the cue is of this setup. He would make his way over to see what sort of new toys they have.
Incredible. So you would know that it essentially goes nunnery, and then down is kind of like technology room, and then you have artillery, and then you would have a briefing room. So you can stop in at artillery and tech
I would
missionary if you want.
Stop there on my way down.
Okay, so you walk in and you see Staff Sergeant Michael Grenouille, who you have met before, and he sees you walk in the door. Chuck, it's wonderful to see you, friend. How are you?
I'm doing well, Mr. Greenwee.
He chuckles to himself.
Buongiorno.
What can I do for you? What can I do for you here? You interested in something?
Well, I'm looking for something special. I'm hoping to really get creative on this one.
Creative, you say? All right. Well, let's see what you're working with currently.
And I would, from my holsters, I would pull Betsy and Maria and lay them down on the table.
He looks over your pistols and, I have always wanted to see your pistols, but it's rude to ask, so thank you for letting me see them. And he pours through them for a moment and he says, now I know you've been called downstairs, but if you come and pick these up on the way out, I think I can give you something fun.
That'd be much appreciated.
All right, well, go downstairs and I'll get these started for you.
Pleasure as always. And I would click, spurs spinning as I go back down.
Incredible. So for purposes of expediency, you have pistols there. And do you have any specials, like pluses on your pistols? You're muted, my dear.
Oh man, it's so fun coming back to Zoom. I do, if I'm in a duel.
Okay. So he is going to essentially spec out one of your pistols so that it gives you advantages in close quarters and will do essentially more damage if you have it right pressed up against somebody.
All right.
So it gives you a plus to close quarters.
Thank you kindly.
All right. So you head on through. Anybody else?
Yeah, absolutely. Where's that fucking Morley Grey wizard live? Does he have apartments here?
You've actually never met any of the morally gray wizards. You assume they keep
but
them...
I know there's one. I wait. I show up way early. I don't let anyone know I'm here. I don't report, but I hang out in the mess hall and I wait for some fucking gray beard Pendragon looking motherfucker to like load up his stupid little pipe and like go to work. And I'm gonna follow that asshole. I'm gonna see where he hides his shit, and when I'm wait for him to go to sleep, and I'm gonna take his stuff.
Amazing. All right, so you see someone who would approximately fit this description saunter in probably about 3 hours after you arrive. You're just sitting there spinning your jar in the mess hall. And you see someone who you've heard of by reputation, but never met personally. You would know this to be Mage Barker Romney.
Yeah, I do not want to introduce myself, but I definitely want to make like a lap of the room to see if I can like spy all his shit from every angle. And like, is he an aware man?
I would say that no, he is absolutely, as you said, he's packing a pipe at this moment. And
Good.
Funnily enough, you don't see anything on him.
Fuck. Not like he's naked, but he's...
No, he's wearing a set of like quite a nice, like long gray trench coat over what seems to be a well-trimmed suit. He looks very well dressed. Hair a little less put together, but he does fit the description, and you do know that this is one of the morally gray wizards, Barker Romney, but does not have any trinkets or tokens of any kind like you
Absolutely. In that case, I'd love to head over and introduce myself and say, Mr. Romney, I've heard so much about you. We must really be in a tight spot to for the higher-ups to be calling you in, eh?
He looks at you for a moment, and he pauses as he takes a small pair of spectacles out of his lapel pocket. He makes a big show of kind of opening them up. He cleans them before he speaks to you. He gently kind of pushes them over and he goes, "Oh yes, Cosgrave. It's nice to see you again."
Oh, I see my self precedes me.
Well, we usually know the top 5 necromancers in London, so I'm glad you've made the list.
Yes, you know, have to kill a few Nazis and all that. What have they got you doing?
Ah, that's classified, my boy. Perhaps one day, after a couple missions, we can talk about it.
Sleep well, and I'll leave.
So threatening. Holy fuck.
Incredible. You leave. I just had a giant list of like potential NPCs. Morally Gray Wizard was not one of them, but it is now.
If you introduce Morally Gray Wizards into one of the people they have on staff, me, Sean Deppner, gotta talk to that guy.
Amazing. And Astrid or Flint, anything else you'd like to do as you saunter inside?
So as Iryna is socializing and talking to various individuals, there is this one bright red eye that seems to be stalking from the walls. Iryna kind of gets this sense of something like lurking in the shadows. As on all fours, bounding forward, Flint lunges into his dash position as he rampages, knocking over several ghouls. I'm imagining there's like this office worker with a big pile of like papers and documents.
100%.
Papers fly everywhere as claws risen. He lunges at Iryna with both hands out the front, grabs hold of them and tackles them down to the ground, and then starts to lick Iryna all over the face.
Hello,
With this
darling. Scratch behind the ear.
You hear this as the massive body of Flint falls to one side. His back leg starts to kick.
You are doing well, I assume? You're right. I do look marvelous right now. Thank you.
I'm living for this. This is so great.
As he sort of corrects himself, there's this kind of almost like inquisitive whine as he looks around at the busyness of the briefing center. It's been having been here most of the time. Flint's not really accustomed to things moving at this pace, and you can see that there's kind of like Flint doesn't do well in crowds, at least crowds that he can't rip to shreds. So he's just kind of like almost leaning a little bit on your leg as he's kind of whining nearby.
It's okay, my sweet. Soon we feast.
Incredible. Astrid, anything for you as you make your way through Fang headquarters?
Yes. While Flint is one of Astrid's favorite things to do, I think she would be really, from having to like sit for like the length of a flight, would be quite like ready to go to get some of this aggression out. So would look for like a rec room or a weight room or something. Like she needs to just like lift and like move.
Incredible. Yeah, you find one that is just off of the tech kind of wing, filled with a bunch of these really newfangled looking exercise machines. You haven't really seen machines do exercise before, but this seems to be a place where you can do that. Obviously not a place where you could go for like a long sprint or really throw some punches around, but definitely a place where you could pump some iron if you wanted to before heading downstairs for the briefing.
She immediately finds like, is there just like a squat rack?
Yes,
like
there
good
absolutely
old-fashioned
is.
bar and weights, is going to like load it up with as many as it'll hold and just start just doing reps.
Yeah. As you do this, there's a mirror on one side, and you see a like about 6 or 7 officers just kind of standing at the door in awe. They all look young, probably in their early 20s at this point.
It's important to keep your back straight.
The second you speak, they scatter. They scatter. They're absolutely gone.
With that, quite pleased with herself that she terrified so many people at once, would I think be satisfied with her workout and go towards the briefing.
Amazing. So you all enter the briefing room downstairs, and Commander Slate turns around and gives you a nod. Her hair is twisted back in a low bun. She has sharp, angular features, and she gives you all a nod as you walk in. Welcome in. I appreciate your haste in getting here, and I wish it was under better circumstances. I trust your travel was all right, all of you? Yes?
Quite comfy.
Yes.
Thank you for the new plane.
Oh, you're welcome. Least we could do.
It's wonderful.
So are we killing
Good.
Nazis or what?
Well,
Agreed.
that's obviously why you're here. That's why we called you. And we've received some perplexing intel over the last little bit that I thought I would pass over to you before we get you on this job. So we have received intel that a British agent in deep cover, Agent Henry Oswald, has apparently defected to the Reich about 6 months ago. And while this isn't inherently surprising considering his ambition and the risks he took while on duty with what was considered priceless intel, it's more what he was supposed to be getting for us and what he's given the Nazis in return. He's given them the plans to Operation Tarmac, which is something well above my pay grade, but apparently has been in the works for over a year, and it is now entirely moot. We've done everything we can to salvage the mission, but it's a lost cause because of him. We're primarily worried about the small pieces of information that he has sent back as breadcrumbs of a sort about this new Nazi program. A line of super soldiers, they're calling it, the Übermenschen, which Oswald has taken a keen interest to. We've also discovered that he managed to somehow divert British funds towards this project without command realizing. So needless to say, it's a problem. And we don't know much about these Übermenschen other than that one is... She looks at you, Cosgrave. Something beyond what we had considered possible. The stuff of myth and legend, but considering my job, I shouldn't be surprised anymore. She kind of scans over all of you.
Ooh.
What do you know about werewolves?
Oh, fuck.
Ugh.
Something? Well, you know more than me.
Smell horrible, but they're strong as fuck.
They're
Right.
just the worst.
Yes.
They're just the absolute worst.
nasty creatures.
They're just people 27 days out of the month, and then they get these ideas in their head that there's something special, and they're a terrible wolf. It's an awful...
Imagine the man, but like also a wet dog. Yeah.
You can smell them from very far away. It is not pleasant.
No
Right.
class.
Right. Well, good. I'm glad to see we're all in the same boat then.
Flint
I
agrees with me.
actually don't mind them very much, but
You were always the most agreeable one here, Chuck, so I'm glad that we've got you as sort
they
of a
all
balance.
all die the same.
That is absolutely correct. They do. Well, at the next full moon, our sense is that Hitler plans to unleash this newest breed of Übermensch, and the next full moon is in 3 days' time, and we cannot let this happen. Your mission is this. You will be dropped into Paris tomorrow night. Follow the small clues that we have through the occupied sectors to try and root out these Übermenschen and upend the project by whatever means necessary. This will likely take you to the airship itself, which the Führer has conveniently docked at the top of the Eiffel Tower, so you'll be able to see it for miles around. And if you get in close quarters with him, if you can kill him, do it. Do not let anything stand in your way. We need this war ended before they can unleash whatever fresh hell they've come up with this time, and I am done losing good people. Does this sound agreeable to all of you?
Very much so.
I guess if you don't want to lose good people, you send in us.
The only two things that give me joy in life right now are fucking women and killing Nazis. And a great day combines both.
I like you.
See?
That's good.
Flint also likes you. He agrees with every sentiment that you said, Nicole.
That's wonderful.
You see, there's just a look of joy in her, Commander Slate's eyes that she is trying to hide to uphold military propriety, but you see that there is an inherent sense of like enjoyment that she gets from working with you and being your liaison. You've known her for a long time. This is not your first mission with her. There are 2 checkpoints that we have set up in the city, Charlie and Bravo. Charlie sits between Sector 3 and 2, and Bravo between Sector 2 and 1. You will be dropped into Sector 3. This is the only place we have air access to, as it seems to be something blocking air infiltration here and other sectors. We wouldn't put it past the Nazis to have done some counter-warding centered around the Eiffel Tower to keep themselves safe. We've coordinated with some resistant forces in the city, and your path will be clear of civilians, so do what you need to get through. If you can make it to those checkpoints, our folks will get you sorted out before you take in the next leg. You're going to have to hit them hard and quick. Once they know you're in the city, you're going to have the weight of the Reich bearing down on you, and I don't know if we'll be able to help you if you get pinned or you're in a tough spot. Gather what intel you can about the Übermenschen, but if it's between that and knocking them out, just do that. The best Nazi is a dead Nazi. Right? Yes? Good.
Agreed.
Aye.
Take tonight to rest here. Some of you have traveled a long way, and we're grateful for it. We leave London Airport at last light tomorrow at 1842. And one last thing. We ask that perhaps, if it's possible, you refrain from feeding until you drop into the city. We know you work the best when you're hungry.
That's
Nicole
what-
kind of looks guiltily around and is kind of sheepish.
Wiping the blood away from the rest of her.
Mm-hmm.
Iryna's
Didn't see
literally
anything.
drinking from like a chalice of blood.
Just throws it across the room just to get rid of it.
Flint's still got bits of like the plastic from the bag with like the name of the donor like stuck between his teeth.
Yes, just like at the side of your mouth. Yeah, wonderful. So she dismisses all of you, and you head off to go find your rest. And as you all awaken the next day, deep within Fang headquarters in late afternoon, slightly earlier than sundown, as the crew prepare to get you loaded into your tactical drop coffins. So deployment of all Fang squads is done in this way, and it's a method so brutally effective that it is only usable by operatives who are already dead. Your drop coffins are made of reinforced steel, and they're rigged with pressurized cylinders of high-quality nun's blood, all willingly donated here by the Sisters of Perpetual Ruin. And they're fitted with some form of pneumatic shock absorption to protect the structural integrity of the devices. The coffins are carried over a target site in a high-altitude bomber, and they're often shielded from enemy radar by a scrying Fang obfuscationist, there's the word, and they're dropped directly into action. No parachutes are used, as they would slow your descent, taking away the crucial element of surprise. The drop coffins plummet several thousand feet in the air before smashing directly into the ground, turning the occupant into some form of mangled paste and gristle. And at this stage, it's then that the nun's blood is released into the coffin, and the vampire within can use it to heal any and all wounds within seconds. And after that, it's the simple matter of kicking open the lid. So my dear voracious vamps, each of these drop coffins is slightly personalized for you, each with different etchings and engravings in the steel. What do each of your coffins look like? And is there anything inside that you take with you?
Sean, please.
Sean, yeah. Please. Well, I mean, Cosgrave's coffin. When he found out that the Mr. Barker, the wizard, slept in his own magnificent mansion, and there was nothing to do last night, he spent the entire day just customizing it with various like wards and runes and little cartoons that he thinks are funny, and so it's like a doodler's nightmare. Like there's just it's just every last inch is like carved, and even within some of the runes there's like even smaller runes, as he never really finished it. At some point they just said, all right, it's time to go, and he's like, oh, okay, and like his hyper focus is broken and he's ready to go.
Amazing.
Iryna's coffin is bejeweled.
With actual jewels.
Yes. Like just the most expensive piece of one-use equipment you could possibly imagine, just covered in jewels and gold, with his family crest on the front, and like really ostentatious and gaudy. Just an absolute display of frivolous, disgusting wealth.
Incredible. Who's next?
Chuck's coffin looks like a old baked beans can. It's got like bullet holes in it. It's all rusty, and then across the front it's just got 3 X's.
Perfect. I love that.
Astrid's coffin would be aligned with like animal fur.
Yeah.
Just indiscriminate, like many different like swatches, sort of poorly sewn together, and on the opposite, like when the lid opens, so staring right at it is just a photo of the Duchess, but it would be the Duchess 1 and not the Duchess 2.
Amazing.
Nicole's is pretty barren, save for like it's lined with ammo, and their guns are just sort of like splayed out behind them. They're like submachine gun and Panzerfaust, and their rifle are in there, and floating around loosely is a picture of a dark-haired woman.
Amazing.
Flint's coffin, okay, it's been used multiple times despite it being broken, kicked. It's kind of one of those things that's it's got age. There are massive gashes in it. There are huge like penetrations in the hull, in a number of different places. And what you see as the coffin is getting ready to load, as everyone's kind of getting into their coffins, is what looks to be a small team of the ghouls dealing with a cage where Flint has basically been leather strapped to a dolly, and a muzzle's been put on his face, and his wings have been pinned to his side with like belts like a straitjacket, as Flint is just as he's basically being dragged and loaded into this thing. Flint, just because he can fly, just hates the idea of falling to his death. So he just always struggles. But this is such a process. They just call it a code Flint, as they just basically as they basically just lure him in with like, you know, some stakes or something into a cage, put him in this rig, and then it's like they just sort of jam it in a couple times because it's so bent out of shape. He doesn't quite fit anymore until eventually the four ghouls shoulder to shoulder just click him into place and then slam the lid shut. You can even see that they've used some like duct tape to kind of just make sure the lid 100%. Stays closed. And they're like, step back, and you can see it's just rattling from that point on. Just
fantastic. So you 6 are loaded into your coffins, and you feel yourselves transported via truck towards what you assume to be the airport. You each have small eye slots. You can see some, and you know that they're doing this at night for your protection. You feel the coffins loaded up onto a bomber plane. For most of you, I think all of you, this is not your first rodeo. You've done this before. But there is a certain weight to this mission. You're going to go out into those streets, and you're truly going to give them a good show, one that the Axis will never forget. It is time to take out the engine of the Nazi war machine. You feel the plane take off, and with your dark vision, you see that Commander Slate has made the journey with you, her own form of moral support. Inside the bomber, we see your 6 reinforced steel boxes hanging from the room, and those slats of bulletproof glass. We see 6 pairs of hungry eyes staring forth with fierce determination. You fly for a few hours silently through the air as you see an obfuscationist weaving their arms and chanting softly in the front of the plane. The Allies, it seems, have become more liberal with their use of the occult, it having become its own form of arms race in the late stages of the war. Finally, after a few hours of flight, you see Commander Slate walk over to a huge lever mounted towards the front of the bomber. Right. It's hot as hell down there, folks. Once you arrive, you will be swarmed with Nazi scum until this is done and dusted. Godspeed, and good luck. She salutes the drop coffins, throws the lever, and immediately 6 hatches below your coffins open. And with a loud succession of 6 locks releasing, you plummet from the plane towards the lights of Paris just after nightfall. And that is where we are going to take our break. Amazing. Oh, I am having so much fun. This is awesome. Thank you all so much for being here with us tonight. We are going to take a very quick break. It'll be about 8 minutes. The second half is going to get violent, very, very violent. It's going to get violent very, very quickly. So if that's not your speed, totally okay. And if you're not okay with the pace of that, feel free to sit this one out and maybe catch it on the VOD where you can consume it in chunks. We will be trying to give enough content warnings and pacing warnings as we go through. So grab yourself a beverage, grab yourself a snack, maybe a good blood bag, and we'll see you after the break. See you soon, folks. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
This is our final move. You are the Allies' last hope. The Nazis won't go down without a fight. You have one mission. Drink all of Hitler's blood. Give 'em hell.
And we are back. So, there is a quiet whistling through the air as we see the 6 of your coffins falling through the night sky. Below, we see Place de la Sirène, a mostly classy area with bistros, cafes, and boutiques. In more placid times, well-to-do families would sit here drinking coffee, eating pastries at outdoor tables. A beautiful mermaid fountain graces the center of the square. We hear the rippling of the water, a serene place at any other evening, until we hear this whistling come in from above, and almost all at once, having reached terminal velocity, boom, 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 we see the coffins slam into the ground, mangling the occupants inside into some form of vampire paste. As the dust begins to settle, we hear the pressurized release on the inside, filling them with top quality nun's blood as your bodies sort themselves out. Mostly. You hear the doors on your coffins unlock from the outside. My voracious vampires, welcome to Paris. Let's fucking go and kill some Nazis.
Yeah.
How do each of you break out of your coffins? Iryna, we'll start with you.
My coffin falls directly through the mermaid statue, shattering it completely as I land in the center of the fountain. And a nearby Nazi looks up and like points their gun at the coffin as the front hatch gets kicked violently free from the coffin, flips and bisects him vertically, smashing into the wall as he falls apart in 2 parts. And Iryna like gracefully floats up out of the coffin and lands and just looks around, very pleased with themselves.
Amazing. Astrid, how do you get out of your coffin?
Astrid is going to like swing it open, grab both sides of it, and just completely like launch like a dive foot first out of the coffin, seeing if she can spot any Nazis like while airborne.
Incredible. Nicole.
The coffin is sort of like shaking with rapid force, and Nicole like bursts forth. The door like shoots up, and they swing up, and they have ammunition all over their body and grenades, and they're holding the this Panzerfaust, which is like a bazooka. It's like an anti-tank thing, and they are like just ready to go.
Incredible. Cosgrave?
Cosgrave's wards designed to keep himself have hid himself safe, have worked slightly too well, and his coffin hasn't broken correctly, so it doesn't come completely off, so it only opens a little bit. Cosgrave dislocates all his hinges and slithers out like a newt before and just like wiggles along the ground until he can find a safe space in the darkness before he takes a good 20 seconds to just pop in all his knees, neck, and shoulder parts.
And anyone else would mistake that sound for gunfire, but that is absolutely Cosgrave re-articulating himself. Chuck, what do you do to come out of your coffin?
Chuck's coffin on the inside has one of those pull tabs that you find on a can. He cranks it open, opens it up. Hat's covering his eye. He tilts it up, and he just strides out.
Incredible. And Flint.
So as Flint lands quite hard, a small group of Nazis immediately begin to sort of surround this large metal mangled coffin. One of them kind of jumps up onto where the lid is in order to kind of inspect the creature that's between these holes. All of a sudden, this arm breaks through the metal and grabs this Nazi by the face, and you hear the sound of skin and bone slurring as they're pulled straight through and into the coffin itself. You can hear the you can hear this just like this mangled sound of screaming and blood starting to flow just out of this coffin. One of the Nazis grabs a grenade and he just pulls the pin, drops it into the coffin, and there is a bang that occurs. As they move around and see the coffin, they see the lid has been ripped open in the smoke. They see this twitching, gutted open version of the Nazi, still kind of twitching and alive as it's kind of trying to point behind them. And on like what looks to be a street lantern, sort of swinging back and forth, like almost like a child's play swing, is Flint, who is just kind of eating what looks to be like kind of this organ dripping with blood. And you watch as his upside down smile looks, because of his tusks, like this ferocious demon mask as he then lunges down on top of them.
Incredible. So as most of you break out, Flint is already atop the lamppost. There is a small group of Nazis who are now running in fear. They're running in terror. They have fully abandoned their weapons and they are just gone. They did not expect this to happen. This was supposed to be a quiet sector, and they have taken off for their lives. You have a moment of placidness here, quiet, as you start to hear sirens responding to the colossal noise your coffins made as we hear the approach of 2 police patrols. They round the corner, and we're going to dive right into combat. So this system is called the Havoc system. It was created by Grant Howitt and the rest of the team at Rowan, Rook and Decard. We're all still learning it. This is our first chance to test it out in action. So we're going to be doing this together. We're going to try and narrate what we're doing as best as possible, but you will be able to get access to this. There's a lot of the stuff on the Eat the Reich Kickstarter, so go check it out right now. And if it's not very clear, things are going to get violent very, very quickly. So this is your reminder and content warning about what's going to happen for the rest of this episode. Okay, so the your objective here is to get out of the open and into cover, which is an objective level 6. You have 2 groups of Nazi enforcer foot soldiers with batons, pistols, and handcuffs at the ready to try and capture you. So we're going to go in the kind of your choice of combat order. As I said, the objective is a level 6. There's 2 police patrols, each with a threat level 4 and attack level 2. So if you all remember the system, you guys can decide who is going first as these Nazi foot police kind of round the corner, and you guys get to act first. You have gotten truly the drop on them here. So what would you like to do? Who's going first?
I've got them, Nicole shouts. They're aiming their bazooka at one of the policemen. So I'm going to shoot with my Panzerfaust. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly.
You're doing great. So I'm going to roll an attack 2 here,
okay.
And you're going to roll your attack and we'll square off. Okay. So you're going to keep everything above a 4.
Yep. I just have a 4.
Okay, so I have a 4 and a 5, so that's 2 for me and 1. Go ahead.
Would these cars be considered armored?
They're not cars; they're just people.
Oh, I thought you said police vehicles were coming in.
No, I just said police soldiers. Yeah,
patrols,
police soldiers are coming in. Yeah, just police patrols. Okay, so would you like to assign one of your values to knock down one of these threat levels?
Yes, I would.
Okay, great. So one of those threats level is off the table. However, I still have 1 threat. So unless you'd like to use a special or any one of your abilities, you are going to take an injury here off the top.
Ooh, I'm gonna use blink. Can I have blood, right?
You do not have any blood at this point.
No.
You're gonna have to go feast on some.
Okay.
You might not have anything as of yet.
I don't think I have anything right now. So I guess I have to take
okay.
a hit. Yeah.
So you're going to roll 1d6 for me, please.
Okay. 1.
Okay, so you're going to look on your injury tally, and between number 1 and 2, there's like for category 1 and 2, you're going to tick off one of those there. So what injury are you, what are you getting injured with this round?
Nicole will be dazed.
Okay, so you see as this, you try and cover your fellow compatriots with fire, but a couple of the Nazi foot soldiers get off a couple of rounds, and you try, and they come in towards you, and one of them cracks you over the face with a baton, kind of sending you backward. All right, who is next? So that
Astrid
one
is.
One of those patrols is down to threat level 3, and the other one is at threat level 4.
Astrid is impatient and hot-headed. She's going to get down on all fours and just say, fuck yeah, and is going to absolutely charge these Nazis, gripping one by the throat and just fucking tearing its throat out in front of its friends, trying to make the others scream and run for their lives.
Amazing. So I'm going to have you roll your attack there, and I'm going to roll to have my attack as well.
Okay. That is a 1.
Okay, how many dice are you rolling with for this one?
Oh, that's a good question.
You should be rolling. You should be rolling with more than 1 dice for this one.
Yeah, if you brawl, it should be 4. I think you brawl is 4.
Oh, is
roll
it?
for
No,
4.
it's 3. So that's 3 dice I roll.
You roll 3
Yes,
dice.
that's correct.
Okay, I'm.
No, you're
It
doing
was
great.
like
We're all
plus
learning the
3.
system.
You can choose to use your spear if you want. You'll add an extra dice on that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then I would love to do that. I'll roll.
Absolutely. You charge in with your spear.
Yes. So I'll count one of those as a 1, and then I'll roll the other 3. Great. That's a 5 and a 4. I think I discard the 3.
You discard everything 3 and below.
Okay,
so
5 and a 4.
These did not have. I did not roll any hits on my attack dice. So are you attacking the other patrol that Nicole did not go after, or are you attacking the same one that she went after?
The other one. I think Astrid would go for like the largest group of people.
Fantastic. So that would be patrol number 2. And you have how many hits do you have there?
2.
2. Okay. Would you like to drop down the threat level to 2, or would you like to put any towards the team objective at this point?
I'll do towards I'll minus the threat level 1.
Okay, so minus the threat level 1, and would you like to put the other one in the objective or another one to the threat?
What's the threat currently at?
Threat's currently 3 for both of the patrols, and the objective is still at objective 6.
Okay, I'll do it for 2 on the threat then. I'll make it a 1.
Fantastic. Okay, so we've got... Oh, actually, you've actually dropped this threat level 4 police patrol to a threat level 2, with the objective still being 6. You guys are taking heavy fire at this point as you're all trying to get out of your coffins and really kind of clear this zone so that you can break off further. Oh my goodness. Can you guys still see me?
Yes, you're frozen.
You're frozen.
Oh, great.
We can hear you.
Great. Oh, that's
you're
awesome.
back.
You're back.
Oh, that's good. I can't see anything. I cannot see my notes in the slightest, which is, always great. My computer just, it's a problem, but it's a good thing I have them on my phone. I apologize, you guys. Give me
Called
one sec
emergency
here.
improv.
Yeah. Oh, I can do this. I have this no problem. I have everything on my phone, so I just can't see you. That's fine. It might just be like this for the rest of this stream. That's great.
We can see and hear you beautifully.
Yeah,
so.
yes.
Oh, and I'm back.
Amazing.
Fantastic. Well, we've
Back,
got
baby.
Okay, great. Who is next? We have
Quick
had
question for you. What is the attack rating at?
the attack rating for these 2 patrols is 2.
Okay, perfect.
So they're 2 apiece.
All right, I'll go next.
Go ahead.
You'd see Chuck pull both pistols out of his holsters, and he would run in, and he's going to get in close. And I'm going to shoot, but I'm going to do close quarters using my revolvers. So
Incredible.
shoot
Go
for
for
3 close quarters, 4 for the revolvers, plus for the close quarters, so 5 all up.
5 all up. Okay, you're rolling against attack 2. Which patrol are you going for? Are you going for the one that Nicole hit or the one that Astrid hit?
I'll go for the one that Astrid hit.
Fantastic. So they're rolling, that's threat 2 there and rolling with an attack 2.
So 5 all up.
Okay, so I have one attack that needs to be dealt with there.
I rolled really, really well. I rolled 2 6s, a 5, and a 4, and a 2. So I dropped the 2.
And the
do.
6
I
count
get
as
double
2 successes.
double successes on the 6s.
Yes, they do.
6 successes.
So 6 successes. Yeah.
Holy shit.
So
Where
I'm
would you like
gonna-
to align these 6 things?
Yeah, if I complete the objective, does it minimize the threat? Does it get us out of there?
If you complete the objective, you essentially have a clear path.
You know
If
what?
you
That's-
stay and fight further, you will take fire, but you can keep going from the objective.
I can
Also
neutralize
allocate
the attack.
successes- You can also allocate successes to drinking if you want blood.
Drinking blood if you want blood.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm going to use 2 to minimize the attack,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, you can drop the attack essentially of one patrol. You can either drop the threat or you can drop the attack. I would say at this point you have enough to drop the threat.
Yeah, I'll
you
drop
could drop
the threat
of
5.
both of them. Okay. So you
Which
essentially
essentially-
neutralize these 2
Yeah, and then I'll
patrol
drop.
units.
I'll keep the objective 6, and I'll take 1 blood.
Fantastic. Okay, great.
And basically, what he does is he basically comes in, sort of like John Wick style, with those 2 pistols, and he grabs one by the collar. Gun goes underneath the chin, blasts it up, and as the brain matter scatters, he grabs a piece with his finger and puts it in his cheek like a dip. And then he
Yes.
just spins around and just opens up in like a windmill of death.
Incredible. I love this. The threat is now hereby neutralized, but you still have to try and figure out your way out of here. And you know that another round of Nazi, likely another group of police officers will come in unless you start rolling towards that, like rolling your objectives to try and clear this area. So what would you like to do?
Cosgrave's
Go
got
ahead.
this next one. Cosgrave, from his vantage point, sees this spray of death from Chuck and just goes, holy shit. And being in Paris, there's one of those just like old school 1940s trucks just filled with, I don't know, wine and cheese and music. And Cosgrave is gonna say, okay, boys, here we go. He's gonna pull out his jar of ghosts and just huff them. And he is going to run straight at that truck, leaping through it with his now imbued ghost powers, and try to stick his hand straight into the ignition, not having the keys, and just fiddle around in there as he's like semi-fucking, not translucent, what would that be?
Ethereal.
But it's semi-ethereal.
Yeah, absolutely. Roll for that. Roll whatever you roll for that.
I assume that's a fix because I'm fucking with a truck.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm
that would
adding
be fixed
+2
you're
because
fucking
I'm
with the truck.
huffing ghosts. Come on, baby. Okay. That's 3 successes because 2 3s, 1
Fantastic.
5.
I would say absolutely no problem. Sorry, you said 3s, everything 3 and below you'd lose.
Everything 3 and below.
4 and
Yes.
5 are successes, 6 are crits.
Oh no, that's just 1 success.
Okay, well, I mean,
Holy-
I would say that at this point you've created a new objective for yourself, which is starting this car, and it is a objective level 2, so you can use your 1 objective to get this started if you want transport through the city.
Come on, motherfucker.
So you'll have
come
to do
on.
that on your next turn. Fantastic. Okay, who's next?
So as Cosgrave is working on the car, suddenly the whole truck lurches super heavily, and from inside, like what I imagine is like the cabin where you're like sticking your hand through and in, you can
Yes.
see from the windshield upside down with that one lazy glass eye and no one normalized is Flint, who is now on the top of the van looking at what you're doing.
Amazing.
Can
And
you
what would
help?
you like to do? I would say you can roll. You can either roll a fix. You can roll. Let me just check the stats here. I want to. You can now.
Our
you
goal
can
is to like get the fuck out of here, right?
So I do,
Yes.
I do have a plan here. So, seeing what you're doing and realizing you're trying to get the van started, Flint is then going to, like sort of sit upright, like on the top of the van, and start looking around. And as he does, you hear this almost like death metal, And then as this shriek bellows outwards, it causes glass to shatter. Some of the Nazis, even a distance away, can like sort of hear it as it's like coming from there. As I'm going to use my ability to sense heartbeat. In order to try and scout the area to try and find a clear path free of Nazis for us to drive away from.
I absolutely love that. So whatever that ability is, you can roll that, or I would say you could probably roll search with a bonus for that.
Yep. So I'm going to go with search. I'd like to use the sense heartbeat to give me the plus for the dense cover.
Absolutely.
And is there a no, that's only if I'm using my claws. Never mind. Yep. Okay. Sweet. Let's do this. Oh, hell yeah. Okay. So that is 2 6s and a 5.
Incredible. So you have 5 successes there. You can use that towards the objective if you want. That'll drop the objective down to objective 1.
I mean, unless I can drink the blood of the van, let's do it.
Okay.
Oil everywhere.
So Flint lets out this giant, like, piercing scream as you see all of these beautiful, beautiful shop fronts, one after another, shatter all the way down the street. You hear screams in the distance, probably like straight down the same street and to the right. So you know that probably the best path for you will be straight down the street to the left. And I would say that, Flint, as you look around, you see stuck in the duct tape on the front of your coffin is what looks like a document that has been taped there, potentially a map. And I would say with that extremely high search roll, that is what you have there on the front. So you've cleared the objective down to 1. We are still at car objective. To start the car is one objective, one objective to clear this zone, and then you're good to go.
Objective car.
Objective car.
As I watch all of this happen around me, everyone doing a marvelous job, I'm going to really casually pull out a cigarette from my lapel. And you see it's an old cigarette. And as I light it up, this kind of acrid smoke rolls out as it is a cigarette stolen from the pocket of a hanged man. I'm going to mark one of my hanged man cigarettes and gain 2 blood.
Fantastic.
As I stroll over to the car, and I'm like, darling, let me see if I can help you. And I'm going to roll fix. I'm not very good at it, but I'm going to try.
All you need is 1.
Oh, it was a 6 on 1, and then the other dice went to... that's a 5 on the floor.
Fantastic. So you have 3 successes there. You can clear the objective of seeing which way you need to go. And you... Cosgrave, as your hand is inside this, the smoke from Iryna's cigarette wafts around you and intermingles, and the ghosts are just having a lovely time. This reminds them of someone from their past, and you feel your hand just turn ever so slightly, and the car roars to life. You have cleared this area.
Down a shotgun.
Who is driving right now?
I guess Cosgrave.
Fantastic. All right. Are you trying to do this quietly, or are you going to barrel your way through the streets of Paris at this point?
I think the second one at this point, yes. I think they know we're here with all the sirens and such.
Fantastic. Okay. Who has the map at this point? Did any of you grab it as you clear into the car?
Yeah, Chuck would grab it as he runs and jumps into the back of the car. Is it like one of those ones that has the French version of a pickup? So it's like
that's exactly what it is. You got to make space for cheese and music that it's.
So I'll be in the back
with the map.
Fantastic,
Chuck. As
that's
you
where
look
the map's
at this
most useful, right?
Absolutely. So you see that this map is leading you in the left direction, which you know that they have the resistance forces have cleared this path through the city, trying to minimize any form of civilian casualty. And they seem to be pretty successful so far. There was nobody here in the Place de la Sirène. So you can assume that if you keep going, that will probably be the same thing. You see the next stop on it is what seems to be a German military graveyard that it is telling you to go into that direction.
Which direction was that, left or right?
It was left.
Right.
Flint does the dog point thing.
Yeah, looks like we should head left.
Amazing. So Cosgrave, you are driving
on the wrong side of the road because now we're back on the mainland, and god damn it, we're gonna do it right.
What skill? I'll let you justify what skill you're gonna use for me for driving.
I mean, look, it's either sneak, which I don't think we're doing, or it's got to
No.
be fix because we're driving a mechanical vehicle. No,
That sounds great. So roll fix for me.
okay.
I mean, you could make an argument for Terrify in
I
that
was thinking
you're
that
driving
too.
Terrify.
I would
Like
say-
you're just like.
I would say fix or terrify. If you roll fix, I'll allow you to have a +1 d6 to that because you did literally stick your hands in the engine. So you
I'm
have a
very
vague sense-
intimate with this machine.
You are.
Yes.
So I'll allow you to have a +1 d6 to that.
With this shitty French engine. Come on. It's just a 1. It's just a 1.
Did you get one success or just a 1?
Just 1 success. 4
And
dice.
that's really all you needed. You know how to drive. So you start taking off down the road. Kind of, you hear this kind of screech as you go directly around the corner. You continue driving for a little bit as you navigate your way through the Strix, and you see that the closer you get to this German military graveyard, you start seeing tons of Nazi iconography and propaganda on the city streets, banners and signs. They seem to be making a big state of the fact that this is a German-only military graveyard right in the middle of downtown Paris. So as you arrive, you see that this graveyard seems really new, and it's also covered in memorials of many of the Nazi officers who died during the conquest of France. And you scan the site as you arrive, and you see that just in the middle of it is a military funeral that seems to just be wrapping up, and you see a bunch of infantry soldiers there lowering a swastika-marked coffin into the ground. The squad of soldiers looks like they're about ready to fire a rifle salute as you arrive. What would you like to do?
Is there a chantry? Like a little bell tower?
I would say roll a search for that.
Okay.
Could I assist?
Yeah, I'd allow you to give +1 of that.
Ooh, like driving.
That's 2 5s and a 2, so I'll get rid of the 2. It's 2 successes.
Fantastic. Yeah. So you would see that kind of maybe about 60 feet away from the where the site of this military funeral is taking place. You would see kind of what you're looking for, a little chantry or bell tower.
Cosgrave, darling, take me past that while you do whatever you're about to do.
Okay, everyone, bail out! As Cosgrave tries to find his accent, and he tells everyone to bail out as he drives. He swings by the bell tower wherever you want to be,
onto the roof of the car, and then from the roof to the bell tower. I'm trying to get high.
Oh,
yeah, amazing.
Seeing that's what Iryna wants to do, Flint is going to grab Iryna by the back and just fly her to the rooftop.
Amazing.
I love that. Okay, so I'm going to say you're going to roll. Do you want to do this with minimal disruption, or do you want to scare the people at this site?
I'd like to scare people.
Sounds
I'm bad
fantastic.
at
So
sneaking,
you
good
can
at
roll-
Terrify.
You can roll Terrify, and you can add a +1 because Flint is like chucking you towards this, and you're
Amazing.
making quite the scene.
That is a 4 and a 6, so 3 successes.
Fantastic. So yeah, you do it, no problem. You hear as the infantry soldiers there are ready with their rifles up. They like, you see them turn around and wheel on you, and like two of them drop their rifles and go to pick them up, and then the other 3 the rest of them step back. So this is a squad of soldiers, and they turn their guns towards you folks before they head to go get a drink to celebrate their dead friend. You see,
well,
10...
we'll see about that last part.
you see 10 jackbooted soldiers with rifles and submachine guns. So here you have two objectives. Number 1, ruin that funeral. That's a level 6 objective. Number 2 is find the entrance. Chuck, as you're seeing this, you see that it says catacombs on the military graveyard. Your other objective here is an objective level 4 to find the entrance to the catacombs. You also have an infantry squad with threat level 6 and attack 3. So I'll let anyone here pop off and get started. Probably would make sense with Iryna up at the top of the tower as the rest of you are bailing out of this car.
As everyone starts getting out of the car, Iryna's going to use lay down some covering fire.
Yes.
I am going to use my exquisite hunting rifle and my explosive runes.
Incredible. Where are you laying the explosive runes?
I'm going to tuck them so that they are concealed at the mouth of the hatch leading up to the bell tower.
Awesome.
So that if anyone tries to come up behind me, it's going to explode the whole bell tower, and I'm going to go out of the bell tower.
Love that.
Can I approach the bench on that one?
What do you mean?
Flint's gonna walk up to Iryna because we're both on the roof at the bell tower. I presume there's a giant iron bell
Yeah.
How many of these runes can you put down?
I have 3 that I can mark.
Flint claws at at the bell.
I can mark 2 and toss you an explosive rune.
Flint will put one on the bell.
Amazing. Okay, cool. And I will say, if you want to lay down some covering fire, roll that. I'm going to roll the attack as they see you and open fire against you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got 3 successes there. So unless you can beat those 3 successes, you are going to take an injury.
I'm elevated. I have shoot 3, and I'm using my rune and my gun. And I'm going to say, because I've concealed the rune, essentially, like to try and negate that attack, is like some of them are climbing up the bell tower, so I'm going to use the conceal rune to get me +2 as well.
You got it.
All right, that is 2 6s, 2 5s, and a 4. So that is 2 4 5 6 7 successes.
Great. Where do you want to allocate those?
I want to give space for this bell thing. So I think, like, in kind of bullet time, as the I'm gonna get rid of those 3 attacks, so I take no damage. Yeah. And that kind of manifests in, like, they start charging the bell tower, and there's like maybe like a little group of them downstairs to begin with, and as they lift the lid, it explodes downwards, just like fully engulfing them in flame, but also essentially destroying the structure of this bell tower.
Okay.
As I then I'll allocate 1 to grab one of them as it explodes, pull them up and drink them, and shoot over their shoulder as I mark another blood. And do 3 to reduce the threat of the patrol.
Fantastic. So we're now down to threat level 3 of that. You took some blood, and the attack for your round was negated. Yeah. Fantastic.
And then in that bullet time, to allow Flint to do whatever they're going to do in that bell tower, as the explosion goes off behind me, I launch out of the tower and land with my heeled boot through a Nazi and stand up. Just like look at them with blood like pouring out of my mouth.
Yeah, you land like right here. You like foot into the throat and back down. Perfect. Yeah. Amazing. I would say it makes sense for Flint to go next, considering you are there with this big old bell with an explosive rune on it. What would you like to do, my friend?
All right. So as this happens and the rune is placed on the bell, Flint places his hands on the ceiling of the bell tower and his feet on the rafter that holds the bell and anchors it in place. He strains his body as he bends the metal and pulls that bell free with the long rope that's attached to it. Using his feet, he flies out with the bell out into the night sky and releases the bell and catches the rope. He then begins to rotate with that momentum and swing it around in this huge arc. And that funeral procession.
Yes.
I'm going to time it so that after a certain vehicle makes their way through, any survivors that manage to avoid that car have a nuclear bell dropped on them.
We love this for you. I'm say first to lift the bell out of the tower. I'm going to get you to roll me a brawl. You're going to need 2 successes here to do that.
And just a point of order, I have I missed this. I have the ability Deadshot. When I use a ranged weapon, I reduce the threat's attack rating by 1. So one of those attacks wouldn't have existed, so I'm going to allocate that to reducing the threat as well.
You got it. So it's down to threat level 2. Fantastic. Well done.
All right. I'm going to also petition here that I'm going to be using wings for aerial combat.
Yep.
And I have improved projectile, where I can chuck something large and surprisingly heavy a surprising distance.
I love that for you,
awesome.
And of course you do. Yeah, roll to go for it there.
1, 2, 3, 4 successes and a critical success.
Fantastic. So that's 6 successes all up. Right. I think. So would you like, so that you're going to take 3 of those to block out the attack level on the infantry strad, which leaves you the threat level 2, which can be reduced. And then you still have your, the ruin that funeral, I would say is probably the objective that can go for here. Yeah. So if you've got 6 successes, I'm going to say you're going to drop the threat level of the infantry squad down to 0, which neutralizes them. And now you're going to ruin the rest of the funeral procession. So there's only objective level 2 left on that one. And still find the catacombs is an objective level 4. So the threat
Very
is
well.
neutralized at this point, but if we get to the end of the round and you haven't completed those objectives, another round, likely of another infantry squad, will arrive, which is kind of how the mechanics work with reinforcements in this game. So who would like to go next?
I mean, I got this car, so I'm thinking of doing something with that.
Yeah, go for it.
Just one thing. Anytime we use an item, it's like a +1, and then there's like a circumstantial thing that adds the extra pluses. Okay.
Yes,
got
and
it.
that's kind of a narrative thing that you're going to add in there that's based on your character sheet. So you just got to tell me that you're doing that thing and justify it
Absolutely.
narratively.
And the
So,
amount of pluses is how many dice you add if you succeed it. Yeah.
So barreling towards this now exploded nuclear bell is just this old jalopy, fucking cheese and wine and music just tumbling out the back. And Cosgrave is gonna
Music
huff
tumbles.
the last of his ghosts and I go, come on, lads, and just going to gun it. And right before we collide into the densest part of the people who are grieving, the funeral procession.
The funeral procession for the dead Nazis, yes.
Like zip out fucking Matrix Twins style as he just ghosts his way out of the truck. And I would love to have this truck crash directly into the fucking coffin.
Fantastic. What skill would you like to use for that?
I think surely this is still fix. It's truck style, baby.
I would say go for it. And then if you have any extra dice that you add there for your ghosties, do that.
Oh no, it's so big, team. Okay, no, it's not that. It's just big compared to the rest of my rolls. It's 4 successes. So
incredible.
Here's what I'd love to have happen.
Tell me what you want to do.
Critical success with the 6 for 2. That's just gonna drive straight into the coffin. The coffin itself is going to explode open. The person in the coffin, they weren't expecting this. It's a buck-ass naked SS officer.
They're dead anyway.
It's just naked, spread fully across the dash of this inferior French car.
That's the I think you should leave bit.
As this spectacle is going on before the bereaved, they're watching it. Cosgrave appears next to 2 of these Nazis, staring up, and on his person he carries a series of spigots that he is going to jam into 2 of their throats, which then starts throwing, which he catches in 2 bottles. And I'm going to commit 2 of those successes to blood. So now I can do weird stuff.
Nice.
Incredible.
Don't know where we need to go, but that procession is done.
We love this. Oh, Cosgrave, what a fantastic just coup de grace on these 2 funeral processions as they go through. Okay, so you have cleared the ruin that funeral. Everybody else in the funeral is dispersed. They run back towards the city. You still have to find the entrance to the catacombs. What would the rest of you like to do here?
Nicole is gonna, they're still dazed, but they kind of run towards where we think the catacombs is, by the towers. Is that where you said?
You have a sense that catacombs would be below, right? So you're essentially looking for an entrance that would lead you down into the catacombs.
Nicole's gonna sort of roll in the direction of the tower, on the ground, and start to search. So
amazing. You can roll search with that. And if your gun has any scope on it, check if your guns have any. I don't know if any of your guns have scope, so there might be pluses for that. Okay.
Unfortunately not.
Maybe at the next checkpoint you can see if someone will do that for you.
I have 0 successes.
Okay, so you are searching around, and unfortunately you do not see anything as at this point. Thankfully the threat has been neutralized, but still kind of dealing with that daze from the previous fight. You are certain of where to go. Astrid or Chuck, what would you like to do here?
Astrid, I think I was gonna get on top of the car as you drove through them, but I think Astrid being just a little too slow, you drove through them, and Astrid's just still in the car as it's screaming. So Astrid is going to kick her way out of the door and is going to try and go. Are there any Nazis still here alive?
No, the threat has been neutralized. However, you see some big buildings with doors I'll give this one to you. That big buildings with like doors along in the graveyard site look like mausoleums or kind of crypts of some kind that have like barred doors made of both like metal and wood kind of around the site. So if you wanted to try and search, or if you wanted to try and start breaking through doors, that could definitely be something you want to do.
Sure. Then she would take her great spear, this awesome mix of like bone carving and metal reinforcement, is going to jam it in one of the large doors and just rip it out.
Absolutely. You can roll brawl.
Grip it and rip it, bud.
I'm just gonna grip it and rip it, bud.
I'm just gonna grip it and rip it.
You're grip and rip, eh?
Oh god, that sucked except for 1-6. So
that's 2 successes though.
That's good.
Okay, so I'm going to say that this was only a level 1 success door, and you can use that if you want to knock that off, find the catacombs entrance if you want.
Absolutely, yeah. I'd love to rip the door off its hinges and use the other success to find the catacombs.
Amazing. So did you have 2 successes or just 1 success?
I got a 6, so I got 2.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so you break open these doors here, and you realize that this crypt that you've broken into is too small to house what you would assume to be a stairs down towards the catacombs. And you look around, and you notice that there is only one that is actually bigger than this one, which would likely be the place that you house the door. And I would say that we've got catacombs 2 is still our objective here, but you have a sense that that is the building that it's in, now that you have ripped open this door and seen that the smaller door could not fit in here, like the smaller trap door to go down. Which leads us to Chuck. Chuck, what would you like to do?
Chuck sees Astrid point out that catacombs. He runs over, and I'm gonna brawl for 3. And as he gets there, there is metal on this door, right?
There is, yes.
You see it like starts like a bubble in his stomach. And it's large. It looks like he's got something in there, and it gurgles and starts moving up, and it distorts his whole body. Like there should be ribs, but they start coming out, and this whole bubble rises up, and he vomits acid all over this door. I'm going to use acid spit, and it's against metal, so it adds 2. So that's
amazing.
A 5 to roll.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, that's not great. That's 2 successes, a 4 and a 5, which is all I need. But I do have and you said abilities that don't have blood can only be used once a day, correct?
That is correct. And you know that you own, as of right now, your objective level is just 2. So you don't have to burn anything if you don't want to.
No, but I have one called Corpse Eater, which when I roll a 1 gives me a +1 blood. So after I've vomited all over this door and opened it up, I get a hankering for some Nazi, and I go over and eat one of the Nazis that are left on the ground there and add 1 blood.
One of the catchphrases for Chuck is that he's a really nice guy, except the fact that he's a cannibal. So fantastic, Chuck, as you just start devouring the bodies of one of these Nazis from the funeral procession. You feel that vitality kind of swell in you as you have 1 blood, and you eat through this door. It busts open through the middle, and you see a hatch leading down to what you assume is the catacombs. Well done, team. You have cleared this area. So you push your way down into the catacombs below Paris, and you know that Paris is home to many tunnels, sepulchres, forgotten passages, and these are natural places for vampires to hide out. And while this is definitely what you assume to be a prominent entrance to the underground, navigating to other parts of the city would be really, really difficult, thanks to centuries of disrepair and what you're assuming to be lightly Nazi obfuscation. God, that word just won't come out of my mouth tonight. And that being said, you've called a lot of attention to you up on the surface, so ducking into the tunnels might allow you to get through a large portion of Sector 3 unnoticed, which is what Fang Command wanted you to do. So you have your first objective here is Objective 6, Subterranean Labyrinth, with a challenge rating of 1, which essentially means to knock down every level of this objective. You have to spend 2 to do it. Okay, so I'm going to let you figure out, you guys can tell me what you want to do to start trying to figure your way through this labyrinth of tunnels underneath the streets of Paris.
You go ahead.
I have an ability. I'm going to mark a blood, then one of my 3 bloods, as my eyes go this like deep, almost black red, and everyone else will hear this kind of as I summon a swarm of bats under my control, with an additional plus if it were in an old building, which I would argue Catacombs is pretty old.
Pretty old.
And I'm going to use them to help me search as I basically am like, my darling, show us the way.
Wonderful.
The flood of bats is going to behind me.
Fantastic. And you recognize a couple of them. They're from your home roosting space.
Reginald.
Wonderful. So yeah, you can roll that search.
Ooh, bad. It's a challenge rating 1.
Yes.
I got 1 success and nothing happened.
Nothing happened. So the bats
I got so
here,
many 2s.
So the bats here, they rush in, they surround you, feeling this familiarity of you being there. And some of them stick with you because they're uncertain. This is new territory. They haven't been this far west in Europe. And also there seems to be this obfuscation that you're thinking happening is making their echolocation bounce. And you see some of them like hurting. Their little heads are hurting so much because they can't figure out which way to go through these tunnels. So you
also,
have not...
deeply unclear. It just says summon a swarm of bats under your control. I do not have any clue as to whether they
I would say they're still there with you. Yeah, they're
sick.
here with
I'm just
you now.
covered in bats now.
Yeah, I tried to set this up from the beginning that you are a person who is deeply, deeply ingratiated with the bat community. So like, you're good to go.
No.
Okay, who is next? Who's going next?
Flint will do the thing. He'll put his nose to the ground.
Yeah.
Because we can only use our ability things once per session, can't we?
Yes,
So, yeah.
if there's an ability that does not require blood, which is one of your that one you can only use once a session. There's abilities that require blood. You can use those as long as you have blood, but there's usually everyone has one ability that doesn't require blood. That's a once a session kind of thing.
Right. Okay. So in fact, I do have one last blood, which I'm going to use on my sense heartbeat thing again. So I'm going to use that to once again. As he once again like echolocates in the labyrinth.
Amazing. Okay, so you can roll search for that with any bonuses that you have attached there.
That is thrice. Let's see how well I do. Okay, that is 2 successes.
Okay, fantastic. So you would, letting out this echolocation, you see the bats kind of all orient in your direction, recognizing the alpha in the room. And they look forward and you hear the heartbeats of probably about 15 people. I'd say 500 to 1,000 feet in front of you. Straight down one tunnel, and that is the only direction that you have going in front of you at the moment.
Okay. Flint will growl to indicate that there's someone further up there.
Okay. Sounds good. And I would say that will knock you had 2 successes, you said?
Yes.
Okay, so that knocks down one of the objectives if you'd like to do that.
I would like to do that very much.
Fantastic. So we are at objective level 5, still with our challenge rating of 1. Who's next?
We got to beat this 5 more times.
Yes. Unless something else is going to happen, because it's probably going to, because you've heard that there's 15 heartbeats ahead. So,
I think Chuck's going to make his way down the hallway. He's going to run as fast as he can. And I'm assuming there's pretty low ceilings in here.
Sure are.
Yeah, I'm going to burn the blood as I run, and you'll see he runs, and then he goes on all fours, and as he's on all fours, he starts to run up the side of the wall and runs along the roof. So I come and try and find these 15 heartbeats from above.
Amazing. Yeah. What skill would you like to roll to do that?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna roll a search because I'm looking for the
absolutely.
heartbeats.
Go ahead, roll a search, and any successes you get, you can use to knock towards the objective of navigating the tunnels.
All right, it's gonna be 3 dice. Not great, but actually very good. I rolled a 4, a 5, and a 6.
Woo!
So that's gonna be 4 successes.
Fantastic.
And I'll mark 2 against the objective.
2 against the objective. Fantastic. Okay, great. Yeah. So Flint or Chuck, as you kind of run up along the ceiling, you see you get a clearer vantage point ahead as some of the tunnels tend to twist and turn. Your other compatriots are running down behind you, and you navigate your way through to what seems like an open area chamber. A centered tunnel where many others seem to connect into. And you see this group of the people you were looking for, about 15 armored infantry soldiers. And while you have surprised them, because you are running along the ceiling like a spider, getting up over top of them, they train their weapons on you as they get ready to brawl down here within the belly of the city. This squad is better outfitted than the previous one, and they're actually ready to dice because they were on patrol rather than just attending a funeral. So your objective here still remains. You have still a level 2 objective of navigating the tunnels with a challenge rating of 1, but now you have 1 infantry squad in front of you with a threat level 6 and an attack rating of 4.
Ooh, geez.
Yes. So you guys are clearing through everything
You said objective is 1 now?
Objective is 2
2
at the moment.
It was at 5 and you reduced it by 3.
Yeah.
Are we all in the room?
You are all now in the chamber, yes. And I'm going to say, too, because generally what happens is once we get through what would be an initiative order, more reinforcements show up. But I'm going to let you guys, essentially everyone now gets their turn in a half. You know what I mean? Because some half of you taken your turns. That feels fair.
Seeing Chuck break out into an all fours sprint, I think would like really awaken like the primal spirits in Astrid, and she would just growl and like follow him. And seeing this room of Nazis would absolutely go just for the closest one. And you notice now that she's wearing like under the leather vest and like many like necklaces and things, she's also strapped with grenades. And I'm assuming this is sort of an enclosed space. So as she like brawls up to one, she's going to let out just like a fucking jam her fist as you see a pin in her mouth to jam her fist inside of one of the Nazis and then like spring kick away from it, leaving the grenade inside of it. I want to use my ability special Apex Predator to in this display reduce the threat rating by 3 as I let this grenade go inside of this Nazi's chest, waiting for it to explode into allies.
You absolutely do that. And I'm going to let you also roll a brawl here as well, if you like.
Wonderful. So brawl is 3, grenade enclosed spaces is +2. And is that +2 plus the grenade?
Yeah. So you plus.
So that's 6 dice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't physically have that many D6, so I'm going to roll 1 twice. Oh, shit. And it's going to be the one that fell on the ground.
Yeah, ground dice.
Ground dice. Okay, 5, 4. And then I'm going to re-roll the one that's on the ground for 1. So I got 2 5s and a 4. I'm going to use 2 of the 5s to for our last navigating the catacombs.
You have technically an objective level 2 with a challenge rating of 1. So basically you need 4 successes designated to objective to clear it at this point because it's a challenge.
Okay, so then I'll allocate 2 of those to reduce it by 1, and I'll use the other one to reduce the threat once more. So I reduce the threat by 4 and the objective by 1.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So the rest of you watch as Astrid absolutely mows into this one Nazi, shoving the grenade inside them, punching them right through the chest, and kicking off backs, shoves this Nazi into a group of about 6 others, and it explodes, just eviscerating at least 7 of them around, cutting this infantry squad essentially in half. Incredible. So fucking awesome. Okay, who's next? What are we doing next? Cosgrave, go for it.
While there's still some to talk to. So Cosgrave, definitely hanging out at the back of the group. Not really a leader, not really taking charge, not the first to get in the situation. One of those gentlemen who got exploded and is now dead. Cosgrave is going to look at this fresh corpse, do an eye shot with that bottle of blood that he just got from the funeral, and that gentleman is going to reanimate and walk up to one of the alive ones, and he's gonna go, "Oh, we have to get out of here! Lead the way, Hans!" I'm going to try to con this gentleman into showing us the way out.
That's so good.
Yes, absolutely.
Fuck
So
yeah.
roll con there.
Yes.
And are you, if you're burning a blood, does that give you something?
Yes, I'm casting Dance Macabre.
Hell yeah, love that.
It should give me an
Incredible.
extra 2 dice to this gentleman.
I do love the wording of this where you control a corpse for around a minute, after which it falls apart. So the idea of this Nazi running away with his friend, looking back, and the friend just slopping apart.
It's just 1 success, which isn't gonna get us out of here.
It is not.
So
what happens as you attempt to do this and fail to do so?
Well, here's the thing. I think I realize we start running down a tunnel, but I'm like, oh shit, I'm only London's 3rd greatest necromancer. I need to get us all the way down the tunnel. I'm like, as they're like leaving my fucking Bluetooth radius, I'm like, oh no, this isn't gonna work. And so I just have my corpse pull one of the stick grenades that it has on its person, and I would love like as it's going, he like stops. He stops, and Hans goes, "What's wrong?" And he goes, and just explodes. And I would love to reduce the threat by 1, as I want to take out this one fucking guy.
Well,
through betrayal.
the infantry squad still technically rolls with their attack level 4, and they rolled only 1 success. So essentially, as you like throw that grenade at him, the one who is Hans, who is alive, essentially bats the grenade away with its gun, and it boom, 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 boom down the hallway and just explodes.
I take that personally and use my back pocket hex as they're making eye contact. So I'm looking through the corpse's eyes into Hans's eyes. He bats it away. My fucking meat puppet catches it and throws it back, but when he throws it, it dislocates at the shoulder, and it becomes a fist arm grenade boomerang.
That's amazing.
It absolutely does. So
and
what does back pocket hex?
It just
allow you to
reduces
do?
the threat attack by 1, so it's essentially
Incredible.
giving me a defense, and I want Hans dead.
Yeah, absolutely. You do that, and you see Hans being like, what, and it just like hits him square in the face. It probably explodes about like a foot away from his face, so the shrapnel hits him, and it just blows straight back, and you are just covered in
I'm not covered in shit. I'm still 60 feet back.
Right. You are 60 feet back.
I got my corpse
Emotionally,
to do the work.
Emotionally, you're feeling really great about that. Except
I light a cigarette.
Yeah.
Isn't that all unusual because it's the 40s, you know?
Amazing. So we still have objective level 1 with challenge rating of 1, and we have a threat level 1 with an attack of 4 for the few remaining people in this infantry squad.
You said that we could circle back if we'd been in the tunnels. We can like do 1 additional thing.
I would say yes, but let's try and let everyone who has not gone yet do something first. Is there anybody who has not gone yet down here in the catacombs?
Yes, Nicole is thrilled by the use of explosives and like runs over to like one of the singed bodies to feed because got to get that blood.
Amazing. That's
Hell
great.
yeah.
So we love
search.
Ooh, a search to get blood. I love that.
Finding
I
the
guess,
fucking-
yeah. I have 0 successes. No.
Okay, so I would say because you're spending your whole turn. How many dice did you roll?
2 for search.
2. I would say because you're essentially, I'm going to give you 1 extra dice to roll there just because I really want you to capitalize on the success of everyone else and how excited you are about explosives. So roll 1 more to see if you get
good. I got a crit 6.
Amazing. So I'm going to say you get 2 blood, and this is a particularly juicy one. So you get 2 blood from that one there.
Hey, that
Excellent. They're loving that.
Wonderful. We love this for Nicole. Okay, great. So that does not. I will say they're going to still fire on you, essentially. But lucky you, they don't roll any successes at all. So that's really good. I rolled a 2, a 2, a 3, and a 1. So that's great. The shittiest roll that I had. Who is next? Who else has not gone down?
Everybody's gone down the catacomb.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Iryna, go for it. Take it away.
All right, I'm going to step forward as I see these new people, these potential attendants. And as I step forward, I lift a little off the ground and somehow become even more like ethereally beautiful as I'm going to mark blood, use dark glamour, and just be like, attend to me! As those nearby are mesmerized by my unearthly visage, I'm going to con and force them to show us how to get out of here.
Absolutely.
I'm basically just gonna
He's so
mind
beautiful.
control. I'm just gonna be like, ah.
I'm gonna say that because you've essentially mind controlled them, I am gonna only roll with an attack rating of 2 to see if any of them kind of break through that.
Lovely.
And that is only one attack success,
All
so
right.
you'll only have to designate one of your successes to that to counter it.
Okay. 2 1s, terrible, but 2 6s, not terrible, and a 4.
Okay.
So 5 successes.
Yes. You can clear everything and all that.
I'll mark 2 to get rid of the objective.
Yes.
And then clear the
attack, clear the threat.
and then that leaves 2 left over.
1, 2, 3, 4. So you have, if that's 6 successes, you have 2 left for blood if you want it.
It was 5 successes.
Then you have 1 left for blood if you want it.
I'm gonna just grab as they kneel down before me. I'm just gonna grab one.
Incredible, yummy snacks. Good for
Get
you.
one of my blood
So
back.
that's wonderful. So you, as Iryna eviscerates this one, you have 2 these 2 last infantry soldiers, these Nazis. They look middling ranking. They don't look anything impressive, and they just kind of start walking you like completely glass-eyed out of the tunnel. There is this moment of quiet as they shuffle down the hallways and corridors here, as what you hear is rushing water from what you assume to be an attached sewer channel. You follow them, and then at some point, does their mind control wear off at some point, or are you just their commander now?
Got your swarm of bats, your couple of
it
Nazis.
says-
Swarm of
Yeah,
man.
you're
it
still
says
covered
those
in
nearby
bats.
are mesmerized by your unearthly visage, and I get a plus if it's beautiful surroundings, which I didn't mark because I was in the catacombs.
Okay.
But
as
no,
we
it
get
just
to
says
the-
they're mesmerized.
Okay, as we get to the edge of the catacombs, I'm going to roll an attack 2 to see if they do anything to you here, just 'cause that seems reasonable to me.
Yeah.
And I rolled a 1 and a 3, so they don't. I would say you've got... Anyone want some blood?
I look at my friends and I go,
Blood.
would anyone like a drink?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll
I
take a
would
snack
love
for
one.
sure.
Yeah.
I'll take
Okay,
one.
great. I'll say you can take, there is 2 blood from each of them because y'all did so well in that fight, so you can split 4 blood however you want.
I'm
taking
well
some
fed,
blood?
so
I'd love one.
I would love one.
I would
So
love
1 to
as
Chuck,
well.
1 to Chuck, 1 to Nicole, 1 to Astrid, 1 to Flint. Fantastic.
Still got some blood
Okay.
from earlier.
you got your vial.
All right. So taking the map out, you finally see where the catacombs lead you out is you start making your way towards St. Medard Church. Now, Paris is lousy with churches, and this is one of the more impressive ones. Well-stained, well-maintained stained glass windows, oak pews, and a grand central altarpiece. You push up through a trapdoor, and from the looks of things on your map, if you head out the front doors and through a secret passage across the street, you will make it into Checkpoint Charlie. And as you move through, the place is as empty as it should be, as Commander Slate said, with barely flickering light from the prayer candles behind the vestibule. You see the statue of Joan of Arc carrying a Nazi banner that has been draped through her arms as you move through. And luckily, the old folk stories about vampires fearing holy symbols or sacred ground is just religious propaganda, and you are suffering no ill effects from being here in a church. So as you get into the main, up the center aisle, you hear the sound of rapid fire outside as glass starts shattering from the side windows, and it seems that the troops have arrived. It seems like there's a small wall of soldiers out front that are beginning to funnel into the church with the intent to eliminate you. The objective here is to punch through the attacking line, which is an objective level 8, and find the entrance to Checkpoint Charlie, which is an objective level 4. You see in front of you 2 infantry squads, and you hear long, loud range rifles as shots begin to range down from you from a sniper team of sharpshooters and spotters in an adjacent building. You hear yelling in German as they begin to call out your positions. Okay, so you have, for listing here, you have an objective, punch a hole through this wall of soldiers, 8. Find the checkpoint, 4. You have a sniper team with threat level 3. You have 2 infantry squads with a threat level 6. The sniper team, however, has a challenge rating of 2.
Oh my god.
So their threat level is low, but their challenge rating is high because they are hard to find.
So
All
it
right.
would take 3 successes to knock them out?
It'll take 3 successes to knock down 1 level of threat for the sniper team as they start to rain in on you.
What is their attack?
Their attack is a 6.
Jesus
And the
Christ.
infantry?
The infantry's attack is a 3, and there's 2 of them.
Can we like take cover?
I would say you can use your sneak to do that if you want to, and it'll
Right.
probably reduce the attack of that round on you. But yeah, objective is
I
punch a
see.
hole, find the checkpoint. This is essentially what you feel like would be your last stand before getting into checkpoint Charlie.
The snipers are hidden?
The snipers are hidden in a building next door, but you can hear the fire coming down from there. So you have a sense that
Could-
they are in the building next door.
Okay, Astrid would then close her eyes and open her senses, like really searching
Yeah.
the heartbeats of these snipers for their smell, the sound of the blood running through their veins, as she's going to mark a blood and use the ability Blood Hunt,
Hell
track
yeah.
targets or search for things using your sense of smell. I get a
Amazing.
plus if the target is fleeing. They're not, but I would love to use Blood Hunt for my search.
Fantastic. Go for it. You can roll search for that there. And I'll say that, you know what I will do? I will give everybody a free round because we'll give 1 free round of like, no, actually I won't do that. We're gonna do it.
Yeah,
this
make
way.
it hard.
Make
Come
it
I'm
on.
gonna make it
hard.
hard.
Go
I'm gonna make it
ahead.
hard for you.
Be
Okay, great.
mean.
Go ahead, Astrid.
Be mean.
1, 6, and 2 4s. So 4 successes.
Shit.
Hell yeah. So I'm gonna
dude.
roll my attack level 6 for the sniper team because that's who you're trying to
Trying to find them.
You do have
Yes.
the unnatural endurance, Cody, that you can reduce how many she rolls by 3.
if you want to.
That's a lot of fucking dice.
If you're
Sure,
heading
yeah.
after- yeah.
How
if you're
how
heading
many are you
after the
rolling
sniper-
against me?
6.
Great. So if any of those shots land, Astrid is going to just, with all that power of lifting, is going to just fucking flex and like, I dare those bullets to fucking hit me right now.
Yeah.
And it's going
Incredible.
to reduce your attack dice by 3.
Fantastic. So I rolled 1 success. So of your 4 successes that you rolled there, you can take 1 to knock. You've essentially overcome the attack of the sniper team, which leaves you 3 successes left that you can use to essentially reduce the threat of the sniper team by 1, if you want.
Great. I would love to do that. Like, as the sniper team like trains on Astrid and fires, as I'm like, my eyes are closed, I'm searching for this. One of the bullets is just going to like catch her in the shoulder, but
Yeah.
going through using that endurance and using that success, I'm going to flex and pop out as I now know
Hell yeah.
exactly where they are.
Amazing. Like you use your senses immediately as the bullet like grazes your shoulder. You're trained immediately in the direction. You have a beat on them right away. Well done. So
Yeah.
Astrid is off taking the snipers who are now currently all trained on her. So if the rest of you wanted to start attacking the infantry or start with the objectives, that would probably be a good place to start. would like to
Nicole
go
is
next?
gonna take out a smoke grenade and throw it at the infantry
Amazing.
Fuck
Go for it.
to cover our advance.
Wonderful.
Oh shit,
Okay.
that's dope.
Yeah. I have a 6 and a 4.
Fantastic. So I only rolled 1 4, so that clears one of the attack of the infantry straw. So you have 2 successes that you can use to knock down the threat of one of the infantry squads if you like.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
Fantastic. Okay, so the infantry squad that Nicole is after is down to a threat level 4. There's also 1 infantry squad that has not been hit yet, and you still have your objectives. Who is next? And for this round, we do not get the reinforcements, so that if we go through generally the like boss battles, reinforcement rules do not apply. to them.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Flint, seeing Astrid kind of trained on these snipers, immediately kind of takes to the air, and I'm imagining like in this kind of like large vestibule, this kind of like a window or something like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe partially boarded up. Tucking his wings in, he crashes through there and heads towards the building, with the snipers that are trained on Astrid. I'm kind of imagining like Flint is gonna just bomb them from above, and basically with his steel gouging claws, basically just start diving into those windows and ripping them to shreds.
Yes, love that. So I'm still rolling at an attack level 6 for this as they see you coming. And you're gonna roll. And remember, this one is a challenge rating 2, but the threat level is only at 2 at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got steel gouging claws, which if it lets me use it as an ambush. I've got brawling 4.
I would say, yeah, like they're trained on Astrid at this point. So if this is you're coming in kind of like in the night, yeah, I would say you can have the surprise on them for that one.
Sweet. And then I'm also going to mark down my blood for aerial combat. Actually, yeah, no,
flying through the air.
I'll mark it for aerial combat. Okay. So there you go.
So I rolled 4 successes. So you will have to clear those unless you otherwise you take an injury.
Yep, no worries. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, so that's 2 critical successes and 2 regular successes.
Great. So that clears the attack. So you have 2 regular successes. You could. Oh, that doesn't clear the challenge rating of the sniper team, though. But I would say if you wanted to use those 2 successes to either punch a hole or find the checkpoint, that would be an option too.
So what I can do here is I want to use Ravenous. When I make melee combat, I can gain 3 blood.
Hell yeah.
And do we get uses of any of the advanced abilities yet, or is that like later on?
I would say after in session 2 you will be able to use.
Cool. All right, in which case, no, that's fine. I'll still use Ravenous and gain 3 blood.
Great.
And so
could you take damage to fuck up those snipers? Like that's an option, right? Like he doesn't have to block the damage.
Oh yeah, I'll absolutely take damage. Yeah.
Okay, so how many damage would you like to take? Would you like to take 2 injuries and use that towards negating the snipers, or?
All right. How much would I be able to take to wipe out the snipers?
You'd have to take all 6 or all 4, right?
The challenge rating is 2. I'd need 6. I'd need 6 successes to wipe out the sniper team fully.
Okay. All right.
You take 1 damage and you can take them down by 1 shot for shot. Because you already had 2 successes, right? Am I making that up?
If there's any attacks left, you mark an injury, and it's just 1 injury. But like if there's any attacks,
4 attacks left.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got 6 successes in total.
Yes.
So if I take. And I need to get 6 successes to kill them all, basically.
You need 6 successes to wipe out the sniper team entirely.
But they're going to do 6 damage to me, which will wipe me.
4 damage. 4 damage to you.
They're going to do 4 damage to you. Yeah.
I'll take all 4. You screw it. I'm bring it on.
Incredible. So you watch as Flint just flies through. You hear these exceedingly powerful gunshots ripple through the night. You see one go through Flint's wing. It nicks him in the shoulder, hits him right on the butt. And I'm going to have you roll...
Not the butt.
On your injury table. So basically you're going to roll 1d6 and you're going to roll that 4 times.
Okay. So first dice is a... 5. I am mauled.
Okay, so you one of these bullets is has some grip into it, and it sticks and it rips a chunk out of your shoulder. So you're gonna roll that one 3 more times.
Yep. All right. So I'm just marking down on my sheet.
Ignoring 5, right? If he hits 5 again.
Well, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You would take the second one in the 5, 6 category.
All right. I've got 3, which has me spooked.
Okay, so you are this bullet hits you, and it's all of a sudden you were saying before about hearing the sounds of the bullets in the cave, and you hear that echoing, rippling past your ear again, and it instills a little bit of fear in you there.
Nice. All right. I got 4, so broken. I will take a +2 to my search and a -2 to my brawl.
Ooh, my goodness. So this one maims you directly in the wing. And one of your wings is hurt very, very badly.
The last one is a 1, teeth smashed.
So one of these bullets catches you across the fangs, and one of your tusks almost completely breaks off. But you completely negate that sniper team.
Nice. So as Flint's basically being shot and riddled out, there's this moment of silence. You can almost see the silhouette of the moonlight coming through the holes in Flint's body. You could see blood just sort of pouring out of his person. And for a moment, this small sniper team is like breathing a sigh of relief. And then that one red eye flares up again as they quickly go to fire and all realize they haven't reloaded. They all start to pull in their guns to reload as Flint makes his way towards them. The first guy he just grabs hold of his jaw and yanks it. His tongue kind of hangs out of his jaw as he grabs hold of it and he pulls it outwards, dragging this long lash of viscera around that he uses on a second sniper and pulls tight till his head pops off. As this happens, the last one finally gets that chamber reloaded and looks up to aim at Flint, but he is simply not there. As behind him, Flint's claws are just grabbing both sides of his head. He screams and tries to lift his gun, but drops it as he's lifted off the ground. You hear the sound of metal tanging as his helmet is split apart. Flint rips him clean in half, sinking his teeth in. I'm going to then pretty much just drink deep from both brain, that blood, everything just explodes. And I'm going to still use Ravenous to gain 3 blood.
And you can also use 3 blood at any point to clear 1 injury. Just to let you all know, you have 3 blood. You can use that to clear an injury at any point. Your sniper team, this sniper team is annihilated. Astrid, Astrid, you take out the snipers on the lower level as you just hear screams as Flint has completely wiped out the on the top 2 levels, leaving you very easily accessible to go help clear everyone back down below.
As the screams of the snipers ring out behind, I'm going to look towards the embankment and in German say, "Darlings, death has arrived." As would you say these are beautiful buildings?
I would say this is a beautiful church that you are standing in front. This is
pretty old church.
Super
sick
old.
one.
Yeah.
So as I yell this, the bats from behind, I'm going to mark 2 blood as I use both abilities. The bats from behind me are going to swarm into the building as my like beautiful unearthly guys, as I'm going to use, rather than mesmerize to control them, mesmerize to just like hit that like deep brain fear response where they're just animal style fear, as I'm going to try and terrify and as I like do this, I'm also just for good measure going to throw my last explosive rune into the room just we're going to mark last explosive rune, and I need to figure out how many dice I'm using. I'm
assuming you're going to use this towards the objective punch a hole.
Yeah, this is going towards either punch a hole or just to reduce the threat, to like essentially try and have people flee. We'll see how the dice go.
I only rolled 1 success for the infantry squad that is closest to you, so make sure take that into consideration before we do threat clearing.
3 dice.
1 from the fucking 15 dice you're about to roll is
2 6s, 2 4s, and a 5. So that's 3, 5, 7 successes.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to reduce 1, so it's 6 left. I feel like one of the soldiers is gonna like run up, pull a pistol like right to the side of my head, and then just like as they're about to pull the trigger, they stiffen and a bat flies through the back of their head. And,
absolutely.
They drop dead as I just stride forward, just full majesty. I'm gonna use what's the threat level? There's two groups of soldiers.
Yeah, 2 your infantry squads. One is a level 4 threat, and one is a level 6 threat.
Right.
And then you still have a punch a hole, find the checkpoint. So lots of successes needed here, but no challenge ratings at this point. These are straight successes that can be allocated.
I'm essentially going to use 3 for punch a hole to basically have the soldiers who are holding the line break. So there's now just a gap, or more of a gap. I'm going to use 2 to reduce the threat of one of the groups from 4 to 2.
Yep, incredible.
And then as I walk just brazenly through the gap that I've made, one of the soldiers running away, I'm just going to grab by the back of the neck and just
wonderful.
Get
and
him
you
blood back.
Incredible. Fantastic turn. Amazing. Okay, who is next? Who's up?
So Cosgrave, in his style, is letting everyone else do something exciting and taking in this havoc with the snipers. There's all the smoke, there's the bats everywhere, and he has been sat behind a pew opening up his grimoire, and he is muttering old English, an incantation, and he's looking up at that that statue of Joan of Arc.
Yes.
And he is going to shoot that last bottle of blood as he casts Phantasmagoria to conjure nightmare illusions in the area immediately around me. A bonus if it incorporates the background in a clever way. So what these Nazis see is that smoke from Nicole's smoke bomb swirl around this statue of Joan of Arc as it breaks free and it holds the Nazi flag above its head, and the flag sets on fire as Joan of Arc becomes immolated, mirroring the past a little as she swells to twice the size, and you hear a booming 14-year-old girl's voice shout out in French, "You are not welcome here." And as she strides forward, just the smoke barreling around her, she is going to swing her illusory sword at these Nazis, and that's when Cosgrave, using the cover of his illusions, pulls out that runically charged sawed-off shotgun of his.
Hell yes.
And as everyone's distracted from the things, when that sword collides, he boom, point blank, and then repositions, boom, both things. So this is a combination of my Phantasmagoria and my sawed-off shotgun.
Let's go.
I guess technically this is a shoot roll.
This is so many dice, though. Like,
this is 7. This is 7.
So yeah, this is the shoot.
No! That's 2 critical successes, 2 regular successes, so that's 6 all in.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
And how much was it to blow a hole in the thing?
I was going to say there's one infantry squad currently that is threat level 6. You can just wipe them out entirely, like directly in front of you if that's what you want.
That sounds great. I'll take that. Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. So there is this one small group of infantry that just go stock still as they see Joan of Arc, a patron saint of the French people, stride towards them and just absolutely like swing down on them, and it just as Cosgrave levels them to the ground.
Here's the thing. I only got the 2 shots. It's a shotgun. It's 1, 2, and then it's as I think the Ent-like Joan of Arc spooks the rest away. Because there's nothing scarier than the rage of the French people.
And a 14-year-old girl. So yeah, don't enrage the French. Fantastic. Okay, so we have 1 infantry squad left with a threat level of 2. The punch a hole through the rest of these is 5, and find the checkpoint is 4. So you are in fine form at this point. Who's next? Chuck?
It's me.
Hell yeah.
You guys realize that you ain't seen much of Chuck in the last little bit. You guys kind of look around, he ain't there. And out of manhole cover in the center of the street just shifts to the side. You just see a hand come up with a revolver right in the crotch of one of the remaining infantry. And I'm going to get in close, brawl, paired revolvers, close quarters.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So that is 5. 1 second.
So many dice. This is incredible. Y'all are very proficient at killing Nazis. You're doing a really great job so far.
I'm just loving, like, every time someone's turn is up, I scroll down to their character sheet, and I'm just so excited to see how they like do all this stuff. It's so dope.
So that's 3 successes. I'm gonna do 2 to eliminate the last infantry, and I'll do 1 to find. And what you see is this hand come up from underneath the manhole cover. It blasts through the first one, and as the heat comes in two from the bullet passing right through the middle. Chuck stands up as the two halves fall from either side. And the rest of the Nazis turn to him. He stabs. He kills the first Nazi by shoving the gun right through him, and then shoots the Nazi behind him, ripping it back out. And he just becomes a whirlwind of death, or killing the rest of the Nazis. I also rolled. We're only using the special ones that don't require blood once. Never mind.
So you can use a special that requires blood. You can absolutely do that, but you need
I have
blood
that
still.
one. I have that one where it's if I roll a 1, I get a plus blood, but I've already used it. So
yes, that's correct. And I will just say too, if you have any abilities that are only once a day or recharging abilities, you are close to your recharging point. So feel free to pull out all the stops. I only rolled 1 success on that attack. And how many successes did you have? Yes.
Oh, I had 3. Yeah, I'll just negate it and I'll leave find at 2.
Okay, great. So so find it at 2, and then you have cleared that infantry squad. Amazing. Who is next?
Back at the top, I think.
Yeah. So who's up at the top?
I mean, Cosgrave will just use the cover of all this fucking hectic nonsense to just do a straight fucking sneak to try to find the way out. He's gonna, just try to really not get shot and stuff.
Amazing.
He's not actually doing anything all that cool this time. He's just like, oh, fuck.
So I'll say you can roll search. The find the checkpoint is a level 2 objective, and then there is still like a group of vague soldiers. They're not openly firing on you, but that would be to represent punch a hole.
How many do we have left on the punch a hole?
Punch a hole 5.
Okay.
Find checkpoint 2.
Oh boy, search ain't that good, but that's okay. Yeah, let's do it. Fuck yeah, let's go. That's 1 success.
Amazing.
He's just kind of looking around. He's straight up. He's still in the church because there's still all these guys, and he just kind of pokes out, and he's like, "I think over there."
You see a flash of in between all of the haze and the smoke and the blood in the street. You see a flash of bright blue. Across the street in one of the doors before a bunch of people run past it. And you know that bright blue and purple are often the color of Fang insignia. So you are much closer to finding this checkpoint than you were before.
Pointed out to Flint. Blue.
Chuck would I'm sure there's vehicles on this street.
Oh, yeah.
So Chuck's going to make his way over to the vehicles, and he's going to, you see him start ripping pieces off, shoving things in the gas tank, moving them around. I'm going to use my tool belt.
Hell yeah.
With a plus to the jerry rigging, as well as a fix to turn these into makeshift explosives to try and eliminate the punch the hole.
I love this for you. Yes, please go ahead and roll fix for me.
4 for fix, 1 for the tool belt, 1 for jerry rig, so 6 dice.
I love the dice stacking ability in this game. It's so awesome. It's very fun to think about all the patterns and how to justify it. That's so great.
All right, so that's 1, 2, only 2 successes, unfortunately.
Amazing, but as you do this, you kind of like you shove all of these pieces in the engine and you give it a little bit of a push, lighting it as you go with one of a shot from your rifle, and it plows into like 3 Nazis and goes completely up in flames.
So reduces the punch a hole to 3.
Yes, it sure does.
So we still have. Sorry.
Punch a hole 3. Find checkpoint 1.
Okay. So
Nicole.
Sorry. If I can just real quick.
Yeah, go
Nicole
for it.
Goes. Nicole, Flint suddenly bursts in through like one of the other windows at the back of the like building, like not on the same side as where we're needing to punch through. And as he does, you see Flint is super injured, just blood, broken bones, bullets everywhere. But in his mouth, he has 3 sniper rifles, and he walks straight up to you and just starts wagging behind him as he's just holding these guns and like belts of ammunition in his mouth.
Amazing. So you can mark that you have a sniper rifle now.
Amazing.
With it, and the uses on that one are there's a certain like loot. Where is the loot here? In the bag, objectives, challenge, looting. I'll say your sniper rifle is you get 3 uses of that, and that's a plus to long range. I will say that's what you've got there for you.
Amazing. I give Flint a little scratch behind the ears and I say, good boy. But I gently, like, I'm in like an alley, kind of covered in trash and filth by the side of the church, which is where we've ended up. And I like kind of throw my guns down, and I like my eyes go black, and I summon a huge amount of rats, and not those like fancy pet store kind of rats. These are big fucking rats. And they kind of all coil together in like a rat king. And I just point. I hand them, I take something out of my pocket, which is dynamite. I hand it to them, and I point to punch a hole through. And so they all travel.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Like 8 die to roll.
Oh, yes.
All right.
We love this.
Okay, I have a 4 and a 5.
Okay, so you have 2 successes there.
Yeah.
So your rats like amble their way forward, moving and just absolutely swarming over the, like, there's maybe like 5 or 6 of this kind of wall left. They swarm over 4 of them and just start eating. And then all of a sudden the rats are fine. Like, your rats are absolutely fine. These Nazis are blown to shreds and with many bite marks in them. So yeah, you have reduced punch a hole down to 1. So we are punch a hole 1, find checkpoint 1 for anyone who would like to try their hand to go next.
Chuck, Astrid, you go.
I was gonna say I'd like to try reducing punch a hole.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there have been use of so many explosives, and I just want to join in on the fun. Astrid has 1 grenade left, is going to walk up to a group of these Nazis, is going to sort of sleight of hand, just drop a grenade in the middle, grab a Nazi by the throat, is going to walk a little bit out of the crowd, spin around in like a demonstration way, throw the Nazi up on her back, sort of in a squat rack move.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Is going to look at him and be like, "Now it's important, gentlemen, unless you want to hurt yourself, dehydrate," and is going to take a knee as she rips this Nazi in half, just blood spraying everywhere at the same time the grenade goes off, just in the middle of them. Explosion of blood everywhere.
That's like the greatest cool guys don't look at explosions.
Yeah.
Like,
I would like to roll Terrify.
Yes.
As I'm ripping this dude completely in half, and also use my grenade.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
And are we in an enclosed space with this? Are we inside or is this outside?
You're outside in the street at this point.
Okay, then I will just roll with an extra because of grenade.
Because boom.
Because boom, and we love boom. That is a 4 and a 5.
Incredible. So, Astrid, as you do this, the last of the Nazis in this wall of squadron that had come at you, coming out of St. Medard Church, you just hear the crunch as a spine is separated. And as you eliminating the punch a hole objective, and as you are looking away from this explosion behind you, you have such incredible senses. You understand when things are out of place. There shouldn't be something this bright blue, so against Nazi insignia and propaganda and coloration anywhere in this part of the city, but you see a small placard that is just a bright blue square with some letters that you can't quite make out on a door right across the way, and you have found your checkpoint. You have cleared all of your objectives. Fantastic job. I will say here, as you're looking around the church, if anybody wishes to take a particularly huge cross, which is the loot that you can get from this church, you get a +2 for something called Swing for the Fences. If you can pick this up, you can brawl with it, and you can use it to essentially have batting practice if you would.
Astrid want.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like that is
That's an
100%
Astrid thing.
Astrid.
real quick. I mean, I'm not the greatest searcher on the planet, but I know these cathedral folks, they got some occult shit hidden somewhere.
All right.
I just want to do a quick pass see if there's any, like, maybe shit got blowed up. I definitely want to push on the statue just in case there's a trapdoor underneath it. I know they're hiding some fucking sacred relic. There's some holy water here somewhere or something. I want it.
You got it. You can roll search for me.
Oh God.
And I'll say you can have an extra D6 because you're specifically searching for occult shit.
I love that. Look, third best necromancer is generous. I'm not the no fucking way. That's a 4 and a 6. So that's 3 successes.
All right. So Cosgrave, as everyone is filing out of St. Medard's cathedral, you know that people often tend to hide the best things in plain sight. So you look up at this Joan of Arc statue that has served you so well, and you look around at all of the candles that are standing at her feet. And you might not know what they do yet, but you get a sense that you could take, with that roll, 3 candles, and those will be something fun for you.
I suspect
Perhaps
that
you
if
can
I
ask-
take more than 3, that God will punish me.
I mean, you don't know.
In
You
for a
can fuck
penny,
around
in
and
for a
find out.
pound, I take 6.
Okay. So you take 6. I am going to have you make a roll for me right now.
Oh boy.
Stealing from a saint statue
I'm going to have
as we walk into a church.
I'm going to have you roll Terrify. Essentially because you are attempting to steel yourself against something that could be very scary to you.
I'll terrify God. I'm not afraid. Oh, that's 1 double success.
Okay.
That's a 6 and a 1.
You take 6. And as you're looking up, you feel the floor begin to rumble beneath your feet. And you instinctively look up. And the eyes of St. Joan, which were previously looking forward, are now looking down at you.
Ooh.
Nothing happens. But she sees you do it.
See you in hell.
Cosgrave, those
Yes?
candles are darling.
You should grab some.
No,
No, you should for sure.
I'm busy.
Incredible.
I'm like going through their pockets, finding pieces
Fantastic.
of jewelry.
I would say, yeah, you find essentially like jewelry, trinkets,
More rings
coin.
on.
Tons and tons of that stuff. I would say if there's any, you will be going into a checkpoint at this point. So getting your actual stuff serviced to get those refreshes will be possible for you.
I feel the Hanged Man cigarette is
Mhm.
so specific that
You
I
don't get those
can't
back.
replenish it. Can I
Yes.
replenish my explosive runes to make new? Like, can I make new explosive?
I would say yes, but we'll do
Cool.
that when we get inside checkpoint, Charlie.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Can I?
So you see this? Yes,
I'd
go
love
ahead.
to grab some. See if I can find a radio on one of these soldiers.
Oh,
and see
smart.
if we
I'll
can
have you
steal
roll
a
search
radio.
for me.
Yanis out here actually doing like World War
Yanis
II
out
soldier
here.
shit.
Incredible.
I'm already on God's naughty list. I'm not afraid.
Be not afraid.
Stealing jewelry and candles, and Chuck is like, "Yo, we gotta get a radio."
So like something useful, right?
It's
I
just a
already
1
know those
success.
candles don't actually exist in the game, Sean. I'm just gonna make something fun for you. 1 success. Okay. I
Yeah.
would say you find a radio on the hip of one of these one of the higher ranking soldiers in this infantry group. You think it looks like it's broken, but you could probably fix it.
Perfect. Yeah, I got to fix a 4 and a tool belt and a jerry rig. So I got
Yeah.
6 dice to roll for that if you want me to roll for that.
I would say you can do that inside checkpoint, Charlie.
Perfect.
When you get in there. Okay, so you take your chance and you do this quick looting of everyone around you, and you take a break for it across the street. You see group of Nazis in the distance running down the street, rifles at the ready to. Hearing the cries of their fallen countrymen, you are racing across the street. As they come down, you just hear a "Hey, over here!" in a distinctly non-German accent. You see a figure waving from this open metal door that has the blue insignia on it. As you approach, you see Fang insignia sewn into their jacket lapel, and as they usher you inside, you see a gentleman with curly red hair and freckles across their face, and you see a small Canadian flag sewn into their collar.
Aww.
And he goes,
Aw.
"Welcome. My name is Lieutenant Richard Stewart of the Seaforth Highlanders of the Canadian Armed Forces. Welcome to Checkpoint Charlie." And that is where we are going to end it tonight.
It was not.
Hey.
Sorry. Can you do that again with a more Canadian accent?
Yeah,
please?
can you get a
No,
little
I
Canadian on it?
Just
Yeah,
like,
you don't look
Oh,
Canadian enough.
hey,
Oh,
But they're
there,
the
bud.
Seaforth Highlanders. No,
Oh,
no,
for
they're not
sure,
like.
eh? Oh, you're out for a ribeye, are you, bud?
What are
Oh,
you
Lieutenant
doing out
Richard
here,
Stewart
bud?
of the
Get your ass
Seaforth
inside.
Highlanders of the Canadian
Yeah.
Armed
much
Forces.
better. Much
Welcome to
better.
Checkpoint Charlie.
Before we
Yeah.
end, do we want to each say, because we get an advance now, we get to mark an advance.
Absolutely.
Do we want to each
Absolutely.
say which advance we're choosing of the 3 advances that are optional to us?
You can also keep
Sure.
it actionable and at the table if you like.
I will
Oh,
keep
wow.
mine actionable because I think seeing mine is better than hearing about
Yeah,
it.
actually, you know what? I'm
Hell
going to
yeah.
keep mine actually.
Yeah,
as well.
same. Mine works exactly with the thing I just got.
Great. So everyone, we get for the folks at home. There's
Yes.
these called
Advance.
advances, which are special abilities that we can't use until we've like leveled up. And so we get one of those now that we get to choose out of 3, and it's very exciting.
Incredible. I want to say a huge thank you to the wonderful folks over at Rowan, Rook and Decard, game designer Grant Howitt, artist Will Kirkby, whose art you're seeing all over this stream, producer and editor Maz Hamilton. And then I also want to thank James Mendes Hodds and especially our sensitivity consultant Rue Dickey for helping us out. We are going to be back next Wednesday with episode 2 of this, which is titled The Talented Mr. Oswald. So we're very excited to have you join us next week, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here at twitch.tv/BlackwaterDnD. We are going to go raid someone awesome. I'm going to let Faye figure out who that is because my Twitch has decided to not exist
I can
anymore.
also find it.
Yes, Adam, if you want to find some of these. If you are interested, the Kickstarter ends tomorrow morning. So you got to go back it right now. You can type !vamp in the chat to go follow that and go back it right now. Thank you all so much for coming and joining us about the action. If you have any questions about the game and you want to hear... more about this, type !Discord and come join our Discord server. And you're welcome to come ask us questions and talk about the game in there. I will, for also a huge thank you to the first episode of our amazingly talented guests, June and DeadAussieGamer for coming to join us. Thank you so much. And we're very excited to have you back next week. To all of you out there, wherever you are in the world, keep your fangs out. And be safe. We will see you next week, everyone. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Bye.